UAV ready.
Spawn more overlords.
You have not enough minerals.
You are listening to the Grassroots StarCraft 2 podcast, episode 16, originally released on November 18th, 2023. This episode will be an interview with team game player who enjoys getting drunk and stoned, Diamond 1 random 1v1 player, and Nidus enjoyer, HighPimplar.
Shit. There he is.
Hello,
Hey.
Internet.
Hello, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
Maybe I should turn the fucking thing down here. First time using a computer, I guess.
Welcome to the Grassroots StarCraft 2 podcast. Unfortunately, Twitch says there's an incoming ad break, so we'll probably take a few seconds here once that ad break starts. But yeah, thank you, HighPimplar, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Super stoked to have you. And I can't believe I didn't ask you sooner to come on the show. It just seems like a natural kind of thing to do, but I'm glad we're here today.
It's all good, brother. Glad to be here.
Cool. Oh, it looks like I have a snooze option. All right, we're going to snooze that. I'm going to snooze as much as I can these ads. Okay. Yeah, it's been a 4-month hiatus. It's been a lot longer than I imagined since there's been an episode, and I'm glad you're here to kick things back off.
Let's get it fired up, man. Let's get it crack-a-lacking.
Man, I've never really done this before, but maybe I can do a little bit of a parental advisory or kind of warning. My shows typically have cursing, but there might be some some alcohol usage on the show or some marijuana usage. So if that's illegal in your state or district, please be advised. But it's legal as far as kind of where HighPimplar lives. I think certainly where I live in the West Coast. And yeah, we're going to have a good time tonight.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the different topics we're going to have for this show. It's pretty typical of other episodes, but a little bit of a twist here since HighPimplar is primarily a team game player. And I feel like I've recently, I don't know when I discovered your stream, but we've been playing a lot of team games together. It feels like at least like 2 to 3 times in a given week, and I've been really having a lot of fun.
It is. I mean, it's a nice change of pace, right? Like, I used to play a lot of 1v1 back in the day, but I don't know. I just got tired of it, you know?
Yeah.
Seems like it was just like the same cookie cutter shit. You had to do the same shit every fucking time, right? And now it's like I don't even want to touch 1v1, just the way that the state of the game is now. I would if viewers came into my channel and they request it. I've always been one for entertainment, right? Somebody comes in and says, "Hey, mind playing some 1v1?" I don't have a problem with playing it, right?
Right.
It's just not my go-to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the different topics we'll talk about HighPimplar as a player. We're going to talk about him as a streamer. We're going to talk about community, and then we can even go into like kind of career, non-SC2 related. It seems like HighPimplar from our pre-show talk is pretty open about talking about that. So yeah, those are the topics for this episode. So let's just jump right into it as a player. Let's talk about the ID HighPimplar. Like, where did that originate? Is it fairly new, or you've had that since you started gaming as a kid?
Brood War. Actually, Brood War, I came up with it. My first name on Battle.net was Devil's Advocate, but then I ended up changing it. I don't know where I came up with it. It just clicked to me one day, and I said, "Oh, HighPimplar," and it just, I don't know, just kind of had that name since then. So I think it was about 98, 99 I've had that name. And then once I got into StarCraft 2, I was thankful because nobody had stolen that profile name yet. But I don't think it actually matters in StarCraft 2. I think anyone can basically have the same name. I mean, I think you could basically have a million HighPimplars out there because I've changed my name over the years. Originally, it was HighPimplar, but now I use StarCraft Poo instead. At one point, I had my name as Eat Ass because I just wanted to see how Battle.net would react to that and how long it would take for an ID ban on something like that. But as soon as I did it, I started noticing other IDs out there named Eat Ass as well, right? So I wasn't the only one. But you end up pissing somebody off, or you say something wrong in a game, and you end up getting banned, right? which is funny to me because they're so on top of, banning people for their names, yet they don't ban people for fucking hacking and shit, right? That's one thing that I've never got. It's like, oh yeah, they're quick to ban somebody for the name Eat Ass. I mean, it's not even really a controversial name. Let's think about it, right? I could be the one that's saying I like to eat ass, right? But yeah, it's High Pimplar has been my kind of my user ID ever since 1999.
Wow, 99, 98. So we're talking like
Yeah,
over 20 years now.
yeah.
Um,
20 years is the High Pimplar, and then let me just reassure you guys, I'm the farthest thing from a pimp. I'm a father married with the same woman for 20 years. So kind of ironic that my name's High Pimplar, even though I'm like the furthest thing from a pimp. I don't even know how to talk to a woman these days.
so the High Pimplar originated from the StarCraft unit High Templar. Is that right?
Yeah, High Templar. I mean, it's like I've streamed some other games and people have asked me, well, what's up with your name? I don't get it, right? But I mean, I'm pretty sure High Templar has been a phrase in the early days. That's what they used to call what High Religious fucking Council. They used to call them the High Templar, didn't they? I mean, I could just be talking out my ass here, but
Maybe, yeah. But so I'm thinking if you ever like venture out of StarCraft, like streaming wise, let's say, and you're still using the High Pimplar ID, and you're still doing like your smoking thing on stream, people might think the high and the High Pimplar comes from the smoking, but that's just really a coincidence. I imagine back in
yeah,
98 you weren't smoking. Is that right?
actually, I was smoking in '98, but I didn't even think about that, man. You just blew a high guy's mind, man. Fucking High Pimplar. I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think when I watch your stream and I see your ID, I see High Pimplar. I actually think about like the smoking aspect of it, and like because we have in the chat right now we have Fat Nugs, which is another hint at like smoking kind of culture. But
Yeah,
for
he's a smoker as well.
yeah, for some reason I don't instinctually think of High Templar, but maybe I should.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's what I thought everyone's mind went to, but I guess I'm the only one. I guess that's what happens when you come up with the name, right? You're thinking something, but everyone else is thinking something else, and it gets misconstrued, right?
Yeah, definitely
But
open to interpretation.
yeah, definitely. What
All
about
right.
your name? Your name PCH. Where did that come from? Anybody
Yes.
ever ask where that?
PCH is a shorthand of my first AOL screen name. So back in like probably middle school or even before then, I had the AOL screen name Computer Homie. And then when people started using AOL Instant Messenger, I shorthanded it to PC Homie. And then just for like gamer tag, I just made it even shorter, like PCH, Personal Computer Homie.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's kind of the short, like,
That
origins of my ID.
Yeah, the history. I think the first time it's like I came across you, you rated me, and I think I pronounced your name. It's Pasitchers. It's like I tried to pronounce it as one word, but then it was actually it's PCH. But again, there's that stoner mind for you.
Yeah, I think when I first streamed back in like 2017 or 2018, I actually had a different Twitch account, and then it took a long break from the game. And I think my first Twitch account was like PCHSC2, but I couldn't when I came back to StarCraft and the whole Twitch world. I couldn't get access to that account unfortunately, so I just made a new ID, and I was like, "What's something with PC?" Like, oh, it's PCH, whatever.
I mean, you could always use the ID eat ass, right?
that
Until
is
Twitch or BattleNet bans you.
That is an option. Actually, as far as SC2 goes, I've always been very like strict of like staying PCH or if on my main account. Explicitly, my main account has always been PCH. This is the first season ever on my main account. I've switched it to something different. I'm now Smurf Stomper. So I want to use that free name change we get every season.
Yeah, mix it up, man. That's what I like to do too, right? And it's like you run across the same assholes that are, purposely just being dickheads to you. It's nice to have a name change so you don't even have to engage them, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, yeah, it's like everyone else. You run into fucking dickheads online, right? Oh, there goes my camera again. Sorry, give me a sec here. My camera does funky shit. I don't know why.
All good.
Rattless says it's the ghost, but I just think it's a shitty ass fucking camera. But Just give me 1 sec. I just have to unplug and replug in.
Sure.
There we go. Give it 2 seconds and it'll replug in. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Every so often it just goes fuzzy.
All good. All right, we can continue talking here. So that your ID originated in 98, 99 with Brood War. Like you said, you've been using it for a very long time now. So I guess this kind of goes into the next question, partially answered here. When did you start playing StarCraft 2? And it was Brood War? Or even prior to Brood War, like before the Brood War expansion, is that right?
Yeah. The OG StarCraft. My brother bought it because my brother was 4 years older than me, and he had money at the time, right? So he was working a job, so he brought that home because we were playing Diablo. That was the OG Blizzard game that we were playing. But then he's like, "Oh, this is a Blizzard game too. We should try this one." And it's like in StarCraft, and fuck, it was history from there, right? Started playing that and couldn't stop playing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I missed out on the whole like Brood War, even pre-Brood War era of StarCraft 2 and RTS. So it's always interesting to hear longtime RTS gamers and then kind of their history there.
Yeah, and it's like I've always played RTS. I've loved the RTS genre. It's like it's gonna be hard to play something else if StarCraft 2 goes dead, right? Hopefully, what's that game called? Fuck, marijuana, eh? That fucking that game
Stormgate or Zero Space.
Stormgate. No, Stormgate. That's the one I'm talking about. Hopefully that one will be a good game to play because like there's nothing worse than sitting there waiting for the latest RTS to come out and it just fucking flops, right?
Yeah, and from what I remember, December next month of 2023 is going to be the next phase of their like internal. I think they've been in closed alpha for a handful of months now, and I think it might go into closed beta. So I'm hoping to get my hands on closed beta. I have a lot of personal or career experience with NDAs and adhering to NDAs, so I have no problem if Frost Giant or anybody from there or any other companies are listening. I have no problem adhering to NDA. It's been my whole career being in tech, so I hope we all get into these games before they release to the public and get our say in what the game is like.
Is it true that the game's supposed to be free to play? Is that what everyone's saying? Like I don't know if that's actually true, but
I'm not up to date on the latest with Stormgate, but I believe Stormgate is going to be free to play. Like the multiplayer will be free to play, but it might be similar to StarCraft 2 where the campaign costs money. Or does the campaign cost money for StarCraft 2, or is it just the multiplayer that's free?
I think Wings of Liberty is free. I think you have to pay for all the other expansions. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the way it works.
Yeah, don't quote me either. But I think I actually backed Zero Space on their Kickstarter or Patreon, whatever it was. I think it's Kickstarter. And I think, yeah, I paid $55 and it was for the actual full game plus some digital items. So I think that's what I initially liked about Zero Space versus a Stormgate is that Zero Space is not free to play. And as far as like, me being extremely outspoken about the whole smurfing thing, hopefully not free to play will help that.
Yeah, and like you said, free to play is just enabled more Smurfs to, keep fucking smurfing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so that was kind of a little bit of the origins of you starting to play StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean, and the little more into detail too. I mean, I guess I was in high school at the time, so it would have been 97, 98, so that would have been early high school. And I was playing a lot of contact sports at the time, so I'd, play football or rugby after school, and I wouldn't have time to do my homework. So what I would do is I would play StarCraft instead of doing my homework, and then I would do my homework in a rush going into school in the morning. My mom would end up dropping me off early just so I could do my homework, right? But it's like I got by. I still fucking managed to graduate high school, but playing sports and StarCraft and barely doing any of my homework. I'm very shocked I was able to graduate. But yeah, I spent most of my time when I should have been studying playing StarCraft. So I think that's where lots of my APM and my hand movement comes from, right? It's kind of just, even though I'm 40 years old and I've slowed down, I mean, I was fucking lightning back in the day, right? We all were. we obviously get old and we get a little bit slower, right? But yeah, man, I was like, that's all I wanted to do is fucking get home from school after rugby or football and just play fucking Brood War for 3 hours. Piss my parents off, because we had dial up back then, right? You didn't have cable internet, so everything was dial up. So you'd hear my mom, "Get off the fucking computer!" Right? Sorry, mom. Because I'd already been playing for 3 hours at that point, right? But that was the way she went. It's like, fuck, we didn't have that cable or fucking internet where it wasn't dial up. I mean, I'm sure you were on the same page when you first got an internet or computer. You had to use the dial-up internet as well, right?
Yeah, I was on dial up, and I remember like people picking up the phone, and it would just kill your connection.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing Brood War back then. I was playing in high school. I'm a little bit younger than you. I'm 37, but in high school I was playing Quake 3, and kind of similar story. I spent a lot of time gaming, and towards the end of high school doing sports. So I can relate to like it's a lot on your plate, especially if you get really heavily invested in the game, uh, and pissing off your parents. Yeah, I remember those
Well, yeah,
days.
it was more than just playing the game. It was an addiction. It's like it still is an addiction, even though I'm not happy with the state of the game, or I'm pissed off about it. As here I am, I'm still fucking playing it 20 fucking years later, right? More than 20 years later. StarCraft's been in my life more than my wife has, and my wife's been in my life for 20 fucking years, right?
Right. Yeah, similar story here. Sensation in the chat says we use net zero internet kick. I remember net zero.
It's like I can't remember what I had. Simpatico, I think it was called. Simpatico Online or something like that.
Back in the Brood War, like the OGS StarCraft days, I was about to say SC2. Were you playing random, or did you start out with a particular race?
No, I always played random because, Brood War is where I started playing random. I think the first race that I ever started picking up playing was Protoss in Brood War. But yeah, just played random. I always played random. I just found the game more fun to do it that way, right? Especially if you're playing team games. If you're playing 1v1, it obviously makes more sense to just play one race, which I've never done. Every time that I play 1v1 or fired it up in StarCraft 2, I'm always playing random, and I feel like I'd play better if I just picked a race, Zerg or Protoss. Definitely not fucking Terran. God, what a garbage race. But no, garbage in the sense that I just don't know what to do with them in 1v1. I think I have the build, Everyone's like, oh, you got to play bio against Protoss. I play bio against Protoss. I get fucking spanked. Okay, it's like, we'll play mech against Zerg. What happens? I get fucking spanked again. It's like, I just don't know, man. It's obviously just not my race, right? But I still do it anyways. And when I play in team games, I can make it function a little bit better. People don't notice I suck in larger team games when I'm playing Terran. Nobody will notice that I suck.
That's the thing about teams as it scales to like twos to threes, and especially in fours, is you can have your worst race in fours, and like you said, you can kind of like hide in the crowd of like,
Yeah.
you guys think I'm pretty good, but I actually suck more than I appear to be.
Yeah, exactly. Just hiding in the shadows.
Wow, so you've always played random. Like when I started playing StarCraft 2 at the very beginning, I told myself when I was playing the different races, I started playing Protoss and then I played Terran and ended up Zerg in like Legacy of the Void or like End of Heart of the Swarm. I told myself once I'm good enough, then I'll switch to random because I really want to play all races at once. And I think it really wasn't until Legacy of the Void that I started playing random, um, mostly in team games and like a little bit in 1v1. But yeah, like huge respect for just starting out random because that's difficult.
Well, and like I said, it's like I've already had all that practice with StarCraft 1, right? So I'd already been doing random at that point, so you kind of have a base knowledge of, sorry, excuse me, of the races, right? I mean, things obviously changed. I think the first game that I did end up playing on StarCraft 2, I picked Zerg because I just felt comfortable playing Zerg in Brood War. And I think I ended up dying to a Void Ray. I think it's like I didn't even know how to build a queen. I was like, what? What the fuck is a queen, right? You mean the hatchery builds a queen? What the fuck is this? But that's what happens when you don't play campaign. You just jump right into the online play. And that's what I did. I was like, fuck campaign. I'm just going to play online, man. And to this day, I still haven't even played the full campaign. I think I'm halfway through Heart of the Swarm. I mean, everyone says you got to finish the campaign, but I don't know, man. To me, StarCraft 2 has always been about the online. You know, to fuck around on the campaign is, fun for some people, but it just doesn't do it for me, right? I like the challenge of playing against, real humans.
Yeah, that was similar to me. I just jumped straight online. Um, I did the Wings and the Heart of the Swarm campaign, but for me personally, it was just kind of sludging through it just to say that I completed it. I still haven't completed Legacy of the Void. I think I'm pretty close, but yeah, online definitely. I agree. It's where it's at. And speaking of online, I had read some articles about Stormgates, the technology they're using for reduced latency online. Even some of the like load testing that they're doing for Stormgate, they partnered with a third party company that specializes in network infrastructure, and they recently did a test for Stormgate where they loaded 1,000 or not 1,000, excuse me, 1 million people. 1 million. I think that's simulated or emulated, not actually 1 million people on computers, but 1 million clients playing the game at the same time worldwide.
Jesus.
So they're really gearing up to have really great, hopefully significantly better network infrastructure and like software development in place than StarCraft 2.
Yeah, and it's like StarCraft 2 has just slowly been declining on what the fuck they do, It's like even the maps, they say they're going to come out with new maps and they just rehash old ones, They just given up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, right? For you can talk about this more, but the map pool for this season, specifically the team maps, they're all old maps. Is that correct? That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of them are from Heart of the Swarm. Late Heart of the Swarm, and they don't work with Legacy of the Void Econ, right? They were designed for Heart of the Swarm Econ, which was slower. Not to mention the minerals were more like some of these maps. I forget what the hell the 4v4 map is, or is it a 3v3? It's an ice map, but they only design the map so everyone gets 2 expansions on the map. And there's no expansions after that, right? So it's like everything runs out quick. The game just goes quick, and everyone ends up taking the wrong expansions. Cause it's just a mess. Like I said, just wasn't designed for Legacy of the Void Econ, right? And they don't even care, right? They didn't even take that into consideration. They're like, oh, well, how stupid would this map be with Legacy of the Void Econ, right? But I mean, also in another aspect, I don't really blame them because StarCraft 2 is a 1v1 game. It always has been, you see that from the streams. You see that from people that get the views. People watch GM 1v1 streams because that's what the game's about. Always has been, right? So to ask for team game maps would just be absolutely outlandish, right? Even though there's still people out there that play team games, there used to be a harsh team game fucking player base back in Heart of the Swarm. Good players. There wasn't any of this free to play fucking bullshit. People that had been playing the game since Wings of Liberty, that had been playing team games, So now you've kind of just been with this free to play, you've been forced into these games where you're playing with people that have just basically got the game. And then you got to play against people that are full of range teams, right? And it's just that the games aren't fun anymore. But just being a StarCraft addict like I am, I got to keep fucking playing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Side note here, really newbie, thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. This is the Grassroots StarCraft 2 podcast, episode 16. We're talking with HighPimplar. Just kind of started the episode talking about him as a player. The recap here is he started playing in Brood War even prior to Brood War, OG StarCraft 98, 99. And we're talking about this kind of stale map pool. We've talked a little bit about Stormgate. We're kind of bouncing all over the place here, but yeah, talking about that. There used to be a lot more team players. That reminds me, we were playing together. I think it was last night or the night before, and we ran into like an OG kind of team player, and he was streaming as well. And I imagine that person was it Darkshade.
Yeah, Darkshade. Yeah. He's been playing team games for a long time.
Yeah. So that's something I noticed playing with you and your crew, HighPimplar, is like we'll load up like a pre-ranged like 3s or 4s, and even occasionally to this day we run into folks that are like they know you, and they know you well. They know your like maybe your play style, or they recognize your account name, StarCraft Poo, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's well, that's kind of why I changed my name. I used to actually have my name as HighPimplar, but I just too many people on the friends list, too many haters, too many fucking pieces of shit over the years. I just changed my name, right?
Mhm.
Kind of moved away from a toxic crowd. It's like if anyone spends any time watching my stream, I get frustrated at stupid shit, but I never really take it out on my teammates. I'll play with random teammates and I'll say to myself on stream, I'll say something like, "Oh fuck, look at this idiot," right? But I won't go out and type to him and say, "Hey, you fucking idiot! What the fuck are you doing?" It's like I know he's a newbie. It's not his fault. It's the way the fucking matchmaking is designed, right? So it's like it's not been one of my things to sit there and lash out at fucking teammates, right? I'll say stuff, but I'll never sit there and lash out. I think you guys even have clips of me clipping sitting there calling somebody a moron, but I never actually type it out on the screen, right?
Yeah, a good point here that you just mentioned was a lot of people like watching 1v1, and StarCraft 2 is a 1v1 game. And it's ironic because Really Newbie just rated the podcast here. And I was just checking out his stream before the podcast, and he had just mentioned, this is great feedback, Really Newbie. He said, I've been seeing your stream, PCH, on Twitch, but I've seen that you're playing team games, and it's just not like my thing, which is totally fine. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
great. It's great feedback, and it really kind of reaffirms what you just said, HighPimplar, that like people generally like watching 1v1, and maybe that's where we'll see a shift with Stormgate, because I know Stormgate has the 3v3 mode, and I'm hoping that they do it right. Like they obviously iterate on it way better than StarCraft 2 for team games. So
And it's like I said earlier too, I'm not opposed to playing 1v1. It's like I used to play it back in I think 2014 was the last time. And I was Diamond 1 with random race. But nobody ever comes in. They just automatically see team game player, and it's like they've had people say shit. I've even had people just follow the channel right off the hop and say fucking High Pimplar's trash. I had somebody follow me and say that, right? Because I was playing team games. That's what I figure, or maybe I was just playing fucking shitty. Who fucking knows, right? But it's just you get people, they come in and out of the channel. It's like, oh, this guy's got 10, 11 viewers, but it's usually just the homies hanging out, right? And they'll just watch it and they'll fuck off because it's not a fucking 1v1. But at the bottom of my bio, I've always had it at the bottom of my bio. It says request games. I can play 1v1, 2v2. But most people that come in out on the channel don't even read that. They just fuck off, right? Like I said, never opposed to it. I think Sensation came in the other day when I was really hammered, par for the course, and said, "Hey man, why don't you play some 1v1?" And I did. I fired up some 1v1. I got my ass handed to me, but you know, he read the bio. He said, "Hey, play some 1v1," and that's what I did.
nice. Yeah, I think a lot of viewers skip over the kind of additional information there. But I try to read that, especially if it's a new stream that I'm checking out. I really want to see like everything that they're kind of advertising or self promoting. So
And too, it's like as a Twitch streamer too, it shouldn't just be about the gameplay. I mean, yes, it should be about the gameplay. You shouldn't be absolute fucking dog ass at the game. I mean, people are obviously going to sit there and want to watch somebody that's better at the game. But also, being a Twitch streamer also comes down to personality too, right? You also have to be entertaining. You can't be sitting there like a fucking goddamn dial tone and nobody will want to watch you, right? And that was another thing too. When I first started streaming, I didn't have a mic, I didn't have a webcam, and nobody would follow. Nobody would join the channel. Nobody would, sub or fucking donate because they want to see a face. They want to be able to not just watch the game. They want to be able to fucking get entertainment, right? So that's what I think a lot of people that are streaming that are good at the game but don't have a webcam or actually talk. I think that's what they're missing to actually be good streamers, is just actually having that entertainment value as well, not just being good at the game, right?
yeah, you're absolutely right. Majority of us are gonna need to have some level of entertainment value because we're the 99% that aren't Cyril or some of these
Exactly.
The Serals that can be monotone, like, or would you say dial tone?
Yeah, as entertaining as a dial tone. Yeah,
The thing is a dial tone. Seral can be a dial tone because he's just an unbelievable, greatest of all time caliber player.
well,
But
that's exactly it. People are tuning in to see the magic of how great he is, right?
yeah, definitely. All right. So these next couple questions here about you as a player, like what race did you first play? Random. You're still playing random now. Um, this might be more of a unique question. So, what's your favorite matchup? This is a typically like a 1v1 type of question, but let's talk about the dynamic of matchups, and maybe we can go from 2v2 to 3v3 to 4v4. Like, what's your favorite combo in
Well,
2v2?
well, we'll start off with 1v1 because it's like, well, because I do, like I said, I do play some 1v1 from time to time when people request. I gotta say, hands down, my favorite matchup is PVZ. I feel like that to me is the easiest match. Me playing Protoss against Zerg. Uh, I, what I usually do is I usually fuck over their expo. I know it's cheesy ass bullshit, but you always go Forge first against Zerg, and I've had success. It's probably not better in the higher rankings, but I find doing that has probably been. I think I have like a 10-2 for the past year with my record as PVZ from doing that, going Forge first. But being a cheesy fucker, and it's like when I do it, I feel like a sleazeball, but it works every fucking time, right? It's like I gotta go have a shower after I cannon rush because I fucking hate it myself, right? But it's like, what else are you supposed to do as a Protoss against Zerg, right? But yeah, dynamics for team games, I would say best for 2v2 is definitely Terran Protoss. It has been for a lot of years. The mech air toss playstyle has just been fucking amazing. Like I don't think even to this day, even with the new patches and shit, I still think TP going air toss and mech is the best late game, mid game combo. It can get a little tricky early game for obvious reasons if you're playing against like ZZ or something like that. For 3v3, just having an air toss on your team. For any larger team scale games, you need to always have an air toss on your team. It's just the way it works for larger scale team games. 3v3, 4v4, always have an air toss. If you're the only Protoss on the team, you play air. That's the way you have to do it if you play those larger scale team games because it scales better than anything in the game in team games. The team game map pool for threes and fours are designed with all this fucking stupid ass airspace, like dead space and shit. The only thing that I would say that would probably be a little bit better with those combos would probably be Nidus because it's just so fucking broken in larger scale team games. It's hard to follow a changeling. The maps are designed for Nidus play. You know, it's like some of these maps, the main base has this big fucking gap, like a country mile, with all this dead airspace. That's perfect for a Nidus on the other side where they can just float in the locust, right? But yeah, I definitely say Protoss is definitely like it's hard to really gauge which is the best for threes and fours because it's just a fucking shit mix. Anything can happen. There's just too many variables, right? But I would definitely say for 2v2 TP for years has been the best combo in my opinion.
There's a lot to unpack there. So, starting off with 1v1, your favorite matchup is PVZ. And ironically, if anybody follows Loco out there, I follow him on Instagram. He made a reel, like a short clip of him playing. He plays Zerg, so he did a hatch first versus a Protoss. And the reel is like the Protoss builds the pylon on the low ground next to the hatchery, and he types in the chat bluff, or he says call, and the guy puts question mark. He's like, I'm calling your bluff, that's fake. And it was a real cannon rush, and he lost.
Yeah.
Oh, he tried to make he made Road Ravager. By the time the Road Ravager walked across the map, there was void, and I've tried it. I try Cannon Rush mostly in PvP, but maybe I should try it a bit more in PvZ and see how it goes.
Well, and it is, and that's genuinely what Zergs will do. That's their like go-to. I mean, obviously they'll change it up from time to time, but they'll always go 17 hatch, right? They'll always go for that quick expo. And you just sneak that probe in behind the mineral line too, and it protects you, right? you do the forge first, you can always do the fucking cannons on the lower ground and protect yourself. Obviously, Nidus comes into play later game, but like you said, in Diamond 1, as of recently, it seems to be working really well.
Yeah, and the Zerg meta has kind of changed for ZVP, actually. I think this is from Eric, where instead of going like 16 or 17 hatch, to prevent the pylon block, what they do now is like 15 out of 14 supply hatchery. And so it completely prevents a probe on most maps from even getting there in time to pylon block. But the downside is that you don't have the second overlord hanging out near the hatchery. So you won't be able to see as much vision of something like a cannon rush. So maybe even with like the current meta of 15 hatch, it's even better now.
Yeah, and I mean, the game has gotten to a cheesy point too, where it's like, fuck, like, I mean, you look at all the statistics, Zerg has been dominating for years, right? The only people that make Protoss and Terrans look good are the ones that are just amazing at the game, right? Like, look at Terrans. Terrans have been suffering for years. The only person that really has been a really good Terran for a lot of years is obviously, what's his name?
Maru. Yep.
Yeah, No, what other Terran can you say has really dominated StarCraft 2 besides that?
Right. Definitely.
Yeah, he's the only one, right? I mean, there's been a few Protoss and a hell of a lot of fucking Zergs, right? I mean, even if you go on the stats online, I'm sure if you fucking go online and you look at like money statistics on like earnings of like the races, I'm sure Zerg has probably got all the races beat by a country mile.
Yeah, I think the millionaire club is like Maru, Cyril. Maybe Chad can help us out here. Who's in the million dollar club as far as prize earning for StarCraft 2? But I absolutely Cyril and Maru. But and going into 2v2, you said TP for a long time has been the best combo. As a less experienced team game player, I always thought it would be TZ because I felt like Hellion Ling super early on is strong, but why is TP so good?
It's just the mech air toss combo. Like I said, if you got Void Rays carriers mixed with Thor tank, right? How the fuck are you really gonna engage that? Pretty hard to engage with all the different kinds of army comps, right? You could come at it with, let's say if you had TT, you come at it with 2 sets of mech. It's like, oh, you still beat because like, how are you going to battle the air toss? You're going to have to build mass Thor. Then the other Terran player that's playing with the Protoss just goes mass tanks, right? And then all the Thors are just null and void after that. Think of other things. You could go mass Zerg. Okay, so how are you going to counter that with 2 Zs? And it's like mass Corruptors, Infestors, fucking. It's just, it gets tricky, like I said, there's obviously a mixed bag when the game first starts off, but like when you get towards mid and late game, TP is definitely the most viable in my opinion. A mech air toss combo is really hard to fuck with.
Yeah, I've learned so much playing teams with you and your crew the past at least handful of weeks, if not month, or I don't know how long we've been playing now, but that's something I learned is when we roll up 3s or 4s, the first question, like air or ground, and we're typing in team chat like AG, like A for air, G for ground, especially if you're Protoss. It reminds me of like, I think it was the game last night. Dude, I rage quit. I quit, but you and Nugs held it down, and it ended up being, was it both of you had a air toss? And
yeah, we both had air toss.
And the Terran just had like mass Thor. It was just like, you guys recalled there, and you spread your units against the Thor, and just
yeah, those guys were good, man. Those guys were fucking kicking our ass yesterday for sure. That's why I see sometimes you come across these good players in team games that are, GM master players that fuck around with team games, right?
I was talking in Sensations chat or live stream earlier today about I think the guy's Wonton Soup. It's the guy that's like 60 APM, and he never gets attacked kind of guy. He just masses Thor every single game, and he'll hit you like 15 minutes with fucking 3/3 Thors.
is one of those guys that just kind of just, okay, well, I'm doing what I'm doing. Hope for the best. You guys better protect me. It's like I ain't doing shit for like 7 minutes.
This guy's playing single player in teams.
It's funny, dude. Every time he does it too.
The vibe build.
You come across people that do that fucking shit all the time. They'll do the same fucking build, and it's like, what are you doing, man? You played like 18K games. You think maybe you would switch it up a little bit?
Somebody said this, and I was watching Dave Testa stream before the podcast tonight. They were streaming that turtle kind of a tournament for Cranky Ducklings, and people were talking about pro players in the chat, and they were saying, "Why is innovation called innovation when he does the same fucking builds for like all of his pro games?" I never thought about that actually. Oh, and Fat Nugs too. He's saying Ketrock. Yeah, Ketrock is the same kind of player. It's just,
yeah.
Ketrock's gonna do Mass Raven, Planetary, and just mentally tear you the fuck down.
I actually used to like watching his fucking channel. It's like obviously got boring over the years, right? Because you're watching the same shit over and over again, right? But no, he had an interesting playstyle. That Mass Raven was something different to watch, man.
And one of the last things I wanted to comment on, you just mentioned about the different combos in team games, is Swarm Host. Dude, we were tormented. I think it was last night where it was you, me, Nugs, and we had at least one Zerg, maybe two. They were just like just Nidus everywhere.
That fucking sound, man. Fucking haunts me in my dreams. Just be sleeping, I'll wake up with a cold sweat. Fucking what the fuck, man?
Oh man, it was like no joke, chat. It was Nidus like every 30 seconds, and we were just like, where the fuck is it? They were doing mass changeling. We'd have to spot where the changeling was going, and
yeah, it gets hectic in team games. That's why I say larger team games, it's fucking broken. That's why it irritates me so much, I guess. I mean, obviously, it's not a problem in 1v1 and shit, right? People aren't doing fucking Swarm Host Nidus in 1v1. If they did, they're probably getting spanked, Good nukers are annoying too. Yeah, definitely, man.
Good nuker. I should try that as Terran, actually.
Sitting there trying to look for that red dot when you're playing like a 4v4 game or a 3v3 game. It's like, fuck, man. I'm not even going to bother looking. I'm just going to hope it's not my eco that gets blown up.
So here's the difference too in teams in StarCraft 2 versus 1v1 is teams. There's points in the game where the mini map is going ape shit, and I'm just like, where do I even look? Where do I put my attention to?
Yeah, somebody's screaming at you to help. I'm like, I got my own shit going on over here, man.
And people are pinging too. It's
the excessive pinging when somebody's like figured out how to ping for the first time, sitting there like pinging fucking woodland creatures on the fucking map and shit. Like, come on, man. Yo, check it out, man. This whatever it's called, the fucking stupid ass creatures that are always roaming your base. Fucking shit, yeah. Excessive pinging something that gets to me for sure.
All right. Next question here. What's your favorite unit in the game? It could be from any race.
I like playing Blink Stalker. I like sitting there trying to micro Blink Stalkers in an engagement. Sitting there with the health bars and sitting there pretending like I'm fucking good at the game. I mean, I think my Blink micro is pretty good. But like it just gives me a sense that I'm playing the game at a higher level than I actually am when I'm sitting there using Blink Micro. So that's why I like stop playing Stalkers. I rarely ever do it because it doesn't scale very good in larger team games. Like I said, air toss is way more viable. So the better thing to do is to go air toss. But yeah, I would definitely say Blink Stalkers.
Blink Stalkers remind me of the guy. I think you introduced me to him, or he might have joined my stream. His Twitch ID is Jumbotron Stream, and in game it's he's in that Dick Boy Club or
Dick Boy Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, he's apparently a hacker. Like a Sergeant Radla ended up finding a replay of him hacking years ago, right? I mean, it's undeniable evidence that he is hacking. Like I would say that he was actually hacking too, but I mean people can change, right? and I've played a few games with him since, where I've spanked him. I've seen him like die to stupid shit that a hacker wouldn't die to. So, he seems like a nice guy. He's a Steelers fan, right? So like I always believe people can change. Not everyone's a piece of shit for life, right? People
Right.
can change, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very important thing to state is just because somebody did hack in a game in the past doesn't mean they have. I think even some.
But like he might. So I saved a bunch of replays. So I'll go over the replays before I play with him again, just
And
to see for myself.
I feel like if he was still a hacker, like he joined one of your Discord calls when we were doing team. We actually talked with him, and he's like a 19-year-old kid. He's been playing StarCraft 2 since he was 11. But I'm talking about him in particular because you had just mentioned the Blinkstalker micro, and when I've played with him, he's really really good at Blinkstalker micro. Really good.
And young person APM too, right? His APM for a 19-year-old is going to be a lot better than for say you, a 37-year-old, or me, a 40-year-old, right?
Right.
But again, like I said, it could also be hacks. It's like it's undeniable that Ratla has. He did show me the video, and I'm not going to deny that he wasn't hacking back in the day, and that it was an older video, like an older game, like 2 years ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I can't be for sure and certain. It's like I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he's changed. But again, I'll have to watch the replays before I play with him again, because that's one thing that I do not tolerate is hacking. It's one thing that I hate, I despise. But I'm not going to call somebody a hacker without actually having the evidence. It was only several months ago, not 2 years ago. Well, then there you go, several months ago. Well, I'm a stoner, right, man? It felt like 2 years ago.
Several months for a stoner is 2 years ago.
But again, like I said, we'll look through the replays because I played some games against him recently where I've spanked him, and there's been some games where he's lost to some questionable shit where it's like, okay, well, how does a hacker lose to that, right? But well, only way to tell is look through the replays, right?
We got Sergeant Ratla in the chat, and we're going to talk about community specifically later in this episode. I'm excited to talk about your community because I feel like you have a cast of characters from your live stream. So we're gonna talk about that later.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some characters in my stream, that's for sure.
All right.
Daro.
The next question here is and this is a bit different I guess we could go through the different, if you want to go through 1v1 through 4v4, but like what's your current MMR range? And this is something I've learned playing teams more is like team game MMR is not equivalent to 1v1 MMR.
No, it's different too. I think it changes every season too, depending on I think the amount of players playing. Because at one point I was up to about 5k MMR in 4v4 and pretty close in 3v3. But that's changed, and that was Master 1, and I was struggling just to keep a full bar in Master 1 at that point. But 5k MMR in 1 or 3v3 or 4v4 would be an astronomical amount of MMR comparatively now. I think now for Masters 1, I think it's only like 4.4 or 4.5 for 4v4. But I mean, back then when more people were playing, it was higher. It was like 4.8 to get into Master 1. Because it was just all depending on how many players were actually playing the game, right?
Yeah, it's fluctuated a lot, and I think the most recent round of GM, I looked yesterday. This must be like people are just not playing as many games early on in the season, but the bottom of NA GM was 4.4, that's just incorrect. That's wrong. 4.4, you're talking like Masters 3, Masters 2 kind of MMR. Yeah. So
yeah, that seems awfully low for GM.
Yeah, there's some Masters 3 people that yesterday that got into GM that probably shit their pants,
Yeah, holy shit. That was Masters 3 last season. Here we go, boys.
I'm going to Korea now.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Welcome, Cytotonic, to the podcast. We got a famous StarCraft 2 artist in the chat, Cytotonic.
Oh, Cytotonic's an artist too. I meet my artist, Sergeant Rattler.
Sergeant Rattler.
Yeah, you guys are both rocking like the same colored fucking names, dude. Great minds think alike, eh?
OMG says StarCraft 3 is going to be announced soon now that Microsoft acquired Activision. I still have high hopes. Um, that's a funny like kind of statement because I saw something very similar on Twitter recently from one of the Team Liquid staff that makes articles for used to make articles for StarCraft 2 more so. I forgot the name maybe, but somebody Jack can remember. But they had said this almost like conspiracy of like now that the Microsoft acquiring Activision is finalized, what if Stormgate ultimately just merges and becomes like I don't know, like Microsoft buys Frost Giant and then Stormgate becomes StarCraft 3. I don't know if I'd like that, to be honest, because I feel like Frost Giant kind of like went off on their own company, like really tried to break the mold of like the StarCraft franchise. But we'll have to see what this whole Microsoft thing.
Well, and also too, I think another thing that it comes down to for StarCraft for people is it's the lore. People love the lore of StarCraft, right? You know, the Zerg, the Protoss, the Terran. You know, that's why we keep buying it, right? I'm
Yeah,
sure if like StarCraft 3 came out and there was like all these different kind of races, like suddenly we wouldn't be so intrigued, right? Oh, introducing 3 different kinds of races, you know? Can you give me 1 sec? I should have brought down more than just 2 beers. Let me
sure,
grab 2 more. Just give
sure,
me 1 sec.
sure, no problem. All right, chat and future podcast listener, HighPimplar is going to go grab a couple more beers. We got some funny comments in the chat here. Stormcraft 3, StarCraft 3 Poggers. Shout out to Cheesy Puffs 012349. Appreciate the tier 1 sub. Thank you for the support. Sergeant Rattler says ZeroCraft 4. Stormcraft does sound like an interesting kind of a hybrid. Yeah, Cheesy Puffs. Now you can use the snowflake emote. I got the oh yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage. Got some old ones too. What do I have? The cheese one isn't as popular. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you again to Really Newbie for the raid. We still have a lot more to talk about. We're a lot through the player section here. We're still gonna have to talk about HighPimplar as a streamer, community, and career. So we still have a lot to discuss, and appreciate all of you hanging out here on a Saturday night. You could be, hanging out, going out to a club or a bar, but you're here with us. And cheers, everyone. All right, we got a question. Oh yeah, friendly reminder, everybody. Sergeant Rowley just posted a question in the chat. I'm gonna put it in the doc, and we're gonna have that all the questions addressed at the end of the stream. So if you guys have a question for HighPimplar, we will address all the questions at the end of the stream, end of the podcast. Good to see you, Jimmy. Cheese Craft 5 says Jimmy.
I already like Rattler's question.
All right. Let's talk about like different play styles, like cheese, macro. Like, what kind of style do you like playing? And do you like playing cheese in team games, or it seems like you're mostly a macro kind of player?
I am. Although when I do play Zerg, I usually do a 17 Ling Bane Flood because usually I'm solo queuing and I try to buy my allies a little bit of time to try and figure out what the hell they're doing. But I enjoy macro games, even when I play 1v1 besides playing PvZ because I just hate playing against Zerg with Protoss, playing late game. I play macro games. I always try to play a macro game. Unfortunately, being a random player, you just don't get that liberty. Even if you tell somebody your race, they're still gonna fucking cheese you. It's just the way it is. You play random, people cheese you because they figure that's just what you're gonna do because you play a random race, right? But yeah, I like to play a macro game. Playing Protoss, I like to play Blink Stalkers. Like I said, it's my favorite unit to play in the game. But more times I'm playing air toss than playing ground toss because it's just more viable late game. Play styles for Terran, I love playing mech over bio. Just find it easier to play. Bio, you just kind of have to be more aggressive. You have to be on the map. You have to be doing constant drops. Requires a lot more APM, in my opinion. Um, yeah, those are my favorite kind of play styles. Air toss is definitely the most viable, like I said, in 3v3 and 4v4.
Okay. So yeah, you really favor the macro style play, even though a lot of folks, when they see random, they kind of anticipate and will even kind of cheese a random player, thinking the auto assuming a random player is going to cheese themselves. But you actually favor the macro style, the blink stalkers to get into the late game, the kind of air toss, the mech.
I mean,
Saying when you're not in a full range team, you can't expect to end the game early in 3v3 and 4v4. I agree.
yeah, it's really hard. You kind of just have to kind of just macro and hope that your build is better than the opponent's, right? And that your teammates can kind of figure out what the hell they're doing, right? It's a lot easier when you're playing full range team, but I play a lot of solo queue, twos, threes, and fours. So you run into where, okay, well, it's like, what do I have to do in this situation? And like I said, the only time I ever do kind of a cheesy build is Zerg, because Zerg is just shit late game in threes and fours, unless you're building mass corruptors to counter air. They're just not a very good race in 4v4 late game. So that's why I always just try to, buy time with a 17 hatch. Do a little Ling Bane flood, get some eco damage. Hopefully they figure it out, and then you can macro from there.
Yeah, I'd agree with Zerg about Zerg late game. I feel like in teams, it's worse than late game 1v1 Zerg for whatever reason. I guess it is the sky toss, the mech. You know, you could do spore wall, corruptor. I think that we played that one game where we were playing fours with Jimmy last night, and their Zerg the Terran opened the Viking, but I feel like we've seen some Zergs that just go straight corruptor.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, that's the most viable thing in late game, is because you're usually countering an air toss or mass air, and then you get the Vipers to go with it. It's kind of the way to do it. But I mean, if you're doing solo Q2 though, right? You go mass corruptors, and you're sitting there trying to counter air, then nobody goes air, then you're just fucked. You're absolutely useless at that
Shit
point.
out of luck. Yep. Gas feed Muta mid game. We definitely do gas feed when we play arranged.
Yeah, feeding is definitely a very important thing. It's especially when you're playing against full range teams. That's usually what they do. If you ever run into Super Clan, they're harsh into playing full range teams, and they do the same shit every fucking game. And it's hard. It's hard to coordinate with random allies, because you say to them like, "Oh, they're gonna do this," but they just don't listen. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna fast expand and do a macro play. It's like, no, I said 3 times 4 gate with a fucking siege tank. But yeah, it's just very hard to stop.
That's the thing with solo queue, like random teammates, is like you said, even if you tell them, if you know the opponents, what they're gonna play, their style, they're just not gonna listen. They're almost playing like the wonton soup guy. They're just in their own zone. They're doing their own thing, and
Just hyper focused on one thing, right?
they got the horse blinder. They got the ape Protoss emote that Cheesy Puffs just is rocking now. All right. Let's wrap up the kind of player topic here. Like, what are your goals as a player? I think this question here, do you ever off race, is invalid because you play all races. But last two questions, like, what are your goals as a player? And then, like, what server do you play on?
My goals as a player is to be the best drunken StarCraft 2 player of all time. I would love to just run into, like, say I run into Trigger. He lives in Canada. I'd be like, "Hey, Trigger, fuck, I'm a big fan, fellow Canadian. Let's have some beers." We drink a bunch of beers, and it'd be like, "All right, man, let's do this. Let's throw down, you and me, StarCraft 2," when he's totally fucking wasted, and that'll be my time to shine. Just to be the best drunken StarCraft 2 player of all time, because let's face it, my fucking prime is way, way, way past it, right? So And then what was the other question?
What server do you play on?
Oh, NA, always NA. I mean, I'll switch it up to EU if people want to play. Like Daro come in and ask me to play EU, so I'll sometimes fuck around on EU, but NA most of the time.
And is where is that, boys?
Hey, it's the honestly larger scale team games. It's like you're gonna get the best team games in NA. Like I mean, better players are obviously in like say EU and Korea, but as far as team games, you're gonna get the best team games in North America.
In North America, I feel I haven't played teams in EU or Korea at all, but like we get a wide variety of bad matchmaking where we just get people that it's like, are they choosing us? Do they have a proxy base? And then we kill them and they realize they just like installed a day ago. And then we get the sweats, you know, as who says it? Who says sweats? It was actually Joe Biden, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like if we went over to EU or especially Korea, dude, we would go to Korea with teams, it's going to be nothing but sweats.
Yeah, it's Korea's because it's like I said, it's a 1v1 game. They don't take fucking team games seriously over there. They do in Brood War. The Brood War scene is still fucking very popular team game scene. It's like I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a guy named Do July, but he plays fastest map and has been playing it ever since the 1998. This guy's just got the most insane APM. He's like firing out 600 APM. But you look at the games, like he'll sit there and he'll queue up a game and look through the matches, and there's fucking hundreds and hundreds of games reloading all the fucking time, right? Team games, you know. I mean, it's sure there's still people that play 1v1, but I still think team games is more popular than 1v1 for Brood War in Korea.
Interesting. Rattler saying in the chat here, I doubt you would get a 3v3 or 4v4 game on Korea. I've tried in the past. It's hard enough finding 2v2 game on Korea. That's super interesting. I've never actually tried, so maybe it's
It's just not as popular. EU still has a team game player base, but yeah, it's hard to find larger team games.
Wow. So if you consider like the original like total number of servers that StarCraft 2 had, it was actually NA. I think it was NA, EU, Korea, China, and then even back in the day, Australia had their own server. So if you consider the number of servers for StarCraft 2 is dwindling, and that, but like what Rattler just said, that team games are pretty much non-existent on Korea. Team games specifically, I mean, StarCraft 2 is quote unquote the whole meme of like dead game, you know, dying game, but team games seems like it would be the first one to sunset. Let's say sunset, you know, versus like 1v1 is going to sunset eventually, but I imagine team games would sunset before 1v1, which is just a bummer.
I mean, like I said, it probably could be the case, but it might not be, right? I mean, let's face it. How popular is StarCraft Brood War 1v1? I know it's still played competitively, but like you know, there's not a lot of publicity behind it. I don't see a lot of publicity behind it. At least not here in North America, right? I
Right.
don't know what it's like in Korea, but you see guys that play team games in Korea, the fucking servers are just flooded. Like hundreds and hundreds of fucking team games constantly, you know? They sit there and they refresh, and another 100 games come up, and another 100 games come up, right? And it's pretty impressive for what? 1997 to 2000, no, 98. So let's say 98 to 2023. So
25 years.
25 fucking years, and people are still playing that game religiously.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, I'd love to play Brood War more. It's like I can't play it for long periods of time because there's nothing worse than spending 600 APM just to get a Dragoon out of your base, right? But it's fun. It's a fun game to play. I loved playing it back in the day, and I still love it to this day. I just don't have, you know, 4 or 5 hours of like I do with StarCraft 2 in me, you know. And I just wish it was more popular here in NA. You know, the obscure times that I do have time to play video games, you know, after I put my kids down to sleep and the wife goes to sleep, is like there's nobody on NA playing Brood War. You know, maybe if it was during the day, I might be able to find a game, but I can't find shit at nighttime.
So I actually played Brood War on stream like a month or two ago, and I had never played Brood War before ever. So I loaded up like the native Brood War client, which they have on BattleNet now, like the remastered StarCraft. And I also played, it's a third party client that does the matchmaking. I forgot what the name is called. Somebody in chat can help me out here. So when I played the third party matchmaking, I played like 2 or 3 games. 2 of the games were versus a semi-pro Terran. This is how bad the matchmaking was. A brand new Brood War player, I got matched against, his name is Terror. Terrr.
Oh yeah, I know Terry. He's like a Mexican.
Yeah.
Terran. Yeah.
PCH is my favorite Brood War player, Keck. I got matched against Terror, and like I just searched like he's doing like BSL. It's like I don't know if that's his clan or like the tournament he's playing in. He's trying to qualify for. I think it's the tournament he's trying to qualify for this year, BSL. And I got absolutely dumpstered, and I was super discouraged. I'm like, why am I getting matched against a pro player as a brand new Brood War player?
Fucking BattleNet fuckery at its best, I guess, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't expect to be matched against like the thing is with Brood War, from my understanding, is like the new player base, like F rank is probably like freaking high equivalent to mechanics and brain skill, like probably high diamond or masters, and like I feel like it's like high diamond or like F rank is the lowest rank in Brood War is like way higher rank in StarCraft 2.
It's like I didn't even know they had an F rank in Brood War. Shit.
Yeah, I think it's F through S. Like F back, you know, S is the highest. That's like GM. That's what Artosis pretends he's like AS rank. He gets to, from what I've read, I've watched the stream and read on Reddit. He gets to 2,500 MMR, and then he goes on a brand new account because it gets too hard for him.
It's like, I mean, I must tip my hat to fucking Artosis. How old is that guy's got to be about my age, man?
I think he's about our age. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still rocking Brood War with that kind of
he's sweating that game out. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Am I the only one that thinks it looks like a thalidomide guy playing on the fucking keyboard? Like when he's got the keyboard just below his webcam.
Oh, yeah. So the position, like his face cam, and then he puts the keyboard cam right below him, so it's like literally just his head, and then his arms on the keyboard are just like.
That's what I get from it too. Every time I see him play, it cracks me up.
Flip a Flapjack, good to see you, dude. Yeah, it was Shield Battery, so that's the third-party client that has its own like ladder. Dude, that UI is super impressive. Like the whole app install UI experience. I'm like, this is a third-party app that somebody made for this game, for this 25-year-old game. It's better than the native one. Like the chat and everything in it was good.
Well, those third-party programs were better too. I mean, back in the day after Brood War kind of died off for a little bit, what was the one that people were using when BattleNet wasn't running? It was called something. I can't remember what the fuck that was called. Yeah, fuck, I can't sit here and think about it for a year trying to think of what it was called. But yeah, there was a different server that people were playing Brood War on. And it was good too. People liked it a lot better than the BattleNet.
And that's the difference, is that we've never had that in StarCraft 2. There's never been a third-party server option. It's always been just BattleNet, you know, or maybe public test realm, which they've stopped using now. For like the most recent patch, they used I think they initially used balance mod, so you had to create a mod from a custom game to use the patch before it released. And I think at the very end they used public test realm. And dude, I actually went on the public test realm. I couldn't find a game to play because nobody plays on public test realm. I queued up 1v1 and I just sat there for like almost 10 minutes. And granted, it's like it resets your MMR. So everybody's MMR, it's going to be, you know, you might play a pro player, you might play, I doubt a bronze player is going to load up PTR or even know how to, you know, public test realm. So. Can I get a CI grip in the chat?
I'm good.
All right, so that wrapped up the player section about HighPimplar. If you're just tuning in now, we're gonna move on to the streamer topic. HighPimplar is a streamer. So when did you start streaming on Twitch?
I guess it'd be just shy of about 2 years now. I think it's been about 2 years. Um, I don't know. It's like I got fucking bored on night shift because I was working night shift for 5 fucking years, and it's like, wow, fuck, I need some company, man. I hate it. It's like my wife and my kid is well, once my first was born, he'd go to sleep or whatever at an early time, and my wife would be in sleep by the time I'd get home from work. So it's like I want some interaction, you know. So that's why I started streaming. It was like I needed to be able to talk to people, hang out. You know, it's frustrating working a night shift with a bunch of foreigners that don't speak English, and you got nobody to talk to for 10 hours, right? And then you go home and you got no one to talk to at home, you know. And then you wake up in the morning and you do the same fucking thing, right? So that was why I kind of started streaming about 2 years ago, was just to have some company while I play video games, right?
That's smart. Yeah, I've never done a night shift, but I can only imagine, like, yeah, assuming you're alone for that particular job you had. It's uh, the social aspect of Twitch is it's pretty underrated, to be honest. And I was just telling Sensation earlier in his live stream, I really feel like I found a home in not only his stream but your stream too, dude. Like I really found like I found my niche home in the StarCraft 2 community, and I think that streamers kind of might overlook that's what they provide for their viewers. You know, like a sense of community. You know, we fuck around in chats and games and stuff, but it's
Like,
it's
and
fun.
that's just it. That's just it. It's a place to hang out. It's a place to release, you know. And like you said, like I said, it's sometimes you can't talk to people, and sometimes you just need to be able to talk to people, right? And that's where I think Twitch has kind of saved me in that aspect, because like I said, night shift for 5 years with, you know, barely any communication during the week. It was nice to jump on Twitch and just, not even when I was streaming, just jump onto other people's Twitches and, you know, talk to different communities, people that are like you, right? And, you know, people you can relate to, you know, people that are friends without actually meeting in person. You know, most of these people that you interact with on Twitch, you're never going to see in real life. You're never going to meet in real life, but yet you share so much in common, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think being a dad is something that, aside from StarCraft 2, something you and I can definitely relate on. And yeah,
I mean, being a dad's great, right? But I mean, it's also too. It's now it's also become an outlet for me to just kind of get away from the family and have a little bit of the alone time that I need. You know, it's like that's why I kind of sacrifice sleep to stream, is because I need to have that sanity to be able to have my me time, have my alone time. You know, I love my family, I love my wife, I love my kids, but god damn it, every day or two, or sorry, every like a day or two a week, you know, I need a couple of hours to myself. And that's where kind of streaming's come into play now, is like I need that time to just stream and just chill out, have some beers, get my smoke on, right?
yeah, I totally
And
agree, man. Like I feel like streaming and gaming. Like some nights I want to game, but like StarCraft 2, I stream and play the game more often than just playing the game and not stream. I've just gotten to that point where it's like if I'm playing StarCraft 2, it's I'm streaming it and I'm trying to interact with like usual chatters or hopefully new people stop by and catch their attention. So
and that's one thing that too that I can appreciate about streams too, is you know, not having that, you know, that flashy like, oh, I need to have $2,000 by the end of the month, you know, kind of forcing you to have to donate. You know, I like coming to streams where I don't feel pressured to do that, where I just go into a stream and I can just hang out and not be pushed away because I'm not donating or I'm not subbed to the channel, right?
yeah, we're in a pretty fortunate position that like our main jobs like provide that income that we need,
Mm-hmm.
and this is fun for us. But I think a lot of streamers are out there like they may not be in that position. Like
Yeah, fair enough.
they may be relying on the income, especially if they made the leap from like part-time to full-time. And Cheesy Puff says, buy
By
my
my
feet pics. Yeah, I mean that.
only if you use nail polish. I like paint. I like painted toes.
Yeah, I, mean, I imagine even though Cheesy Puffs is joking, like that is a thing that deviates from streamers. You know, I imagine that some streamers do that. So
Well, then it's like I was telling you before that I had a friend that was a streamer. His name was his Twitch was called Kuriko, but his name was No Hands Man. Zoran. He was a good friend of mine. He was a quadriplegic, and he played StarCraft 2, and that's why he streamed and played StarCraft 2 is because he couldn't do anything. He was a quadriplegic, right? He would play with a pencil in his mouth and use his chin to like kind of control the mouse and then use the pencil for the hotkeys, right? I unfortunately think he's passed away. I haven't seen him in I think it's been the better part of a year, but he was streaming for paying his way for his family because he couldn't do shit, obviously, right?
yeah, if you're a long time StarCraft 2 Twitch viewer, which I am, I've been watching streams way before I was a streamer myself. I watched him. I remember watching his stream, and I remember everything you just said. The pencil in his mouth. I think he had like a little like chin rest thing where he would rest his chin, and so he could tilt his head, or like like move his head around. And yeah, I
Well,
hope he's
it's
still
like
alive. But
no,
I think
at the same time, I hope I as much as I'd like to say he's alive, I hope that he's finally found peace
peace.
at
Yeah,
the at the end of the last few times I interact with him, because I'd always just fire up messages and chat with him at least twice a week. I would just talk to him. But the last time I was talking to him, he's saying he wasn't sleeping for like I haven't slept in 48 hours. My neck's killing me, and he
well,
stopped streaming at that point, and all of a
yeah.
sudden I haven't heard from him since, right?
Well, if that's the case, yeah, certainly rest in peace. Even Sensation saying he played a game with him and he was nice. So
Yeah, he was a super nice guy, and it's like we played 2v2, and I remember me and him wreck some master players a few times too. He was one of those guys that he didn't like pinging. You couldn't uh, like ping on the map and take his attention away. But if you got on a microphone with him and kind of just coordinated with him and tell him what's going on, he would know what to build. It's like, okay, we're playing against this, and he'd know what to build, and he would have it ready. And like I said, we beat master players before doing that.
when you had mentioned him in your stream recently, and I actually went through like I found his Twitch and he has a YouTube, and he has like old YouTube VODs. Dude, he was like, I want to say high diamond, low masters kind of VODs he had. And this is somebody, like you said, quadriplegic, like could only use their mouth to manipulate the keyboard and mouse. And we're over here just fully functional.
Yeah.
we're struggling, we're not even sometimes that good. So like that is remarkable.
Yeah, props to him, man. Like I said, rest in peace, because like I said, I'm pretty sure he did pass away.
Damn. I think this might be like a first kind of sad moment for the podcast, but
Sorry. Rest in peace to our brother Zoran.
yeah. Okay, let's keep talking about streaming here. What kind of streams do you enjoy, like streaming yourself? Do you like, for folks that never have watched HighPimplar, do you like being all try hard sweat, or is it a bit more interactive?
I mean, to me, I like to be able to interact with my chat. I think that's important. I think that's more important than actually playing the game. People coming in and talking to you, because, like I said, my gameplay it's decent, but it's no GM level. It's not top tier, right? It's like I'm not pulling people in with my gameplay. It's like I got to pull them in with my personality. So I mean, obviously, chat interaction comes first. And I mean, I play the games as hard as I can. It's like I don't slack. Learning how to fuck you, bro. But it's like it's like I play my hardest. I don't do anything weird. I'm not like, oh, I'm just gonna do some random ass bullshit just because it's a team game. I'll play the game to the best that I can, even if it's a random ally, playing with friends and stuff, and we're gonna win the game. It's like I'll still play the game to my full potential. I never slack off. I'll never fuck the dog.
You got some funny sayings. What's another one you said is poop? You said poop de gras before.
Yeah, poop de gras. Yeah, I tend to spew out some verbal diarrhea when I'm playing. That's for sure.
So for folks listening on the podcast or the VOD in the future, Ratlo is saying in the chat, he's still learning how to scout. Definitely not sweaty. All right,
I
so
mean, he's not wrong. It's like it's one thing that I do lackluster is scouting.
all right, so
I mean,
definitely,
that's sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, definitely more interactive. Just kind of reiterating what you're saying there. Definitely more interactive style streamer.
That's then that like I said, that's the only way that I feel that I've been pulling people in over the. I guess I'd say it's probably been about a year and a half, going on 2 years that I've streamed.
Wow, Rattlers played with you for 9 years. He says
Yes, sir.
that's
I've
a long time.
known Rattler for a long time.
I know him like the back of my hand, Keck.
I'd hate to see where the back of his hand's been.
Or where it is right now.
Yeah, or where it is. Yeah, there you go. Where's that drum roll that we have in Discord all the time?
I'm waiting for it. So there's a soundboard. I didn't know this. We didn't know this until recently. There's a soundboard in Discord, and every time we get in HighPimplar's Discord server, sometimes just you and me, somebody is making. Oh, there it is. There it is. Was that you?
That was me. I just figured it out there.
Okay, there it is.
I don't know who the hell keeps doing it while I'm
But
playing though.
somebody's doing it while we're playing, and we don't know. We suspect it's Rattler, but we don't know who it is. There's the cricket sound. There's that like drums, and Rattler with the forehead emote. Keck. Yeah. All right. Just a few more questions for streamer here. Like, what's your status kind of with Twitch? Are you like affiliate or partner? This is just assuming someone that's never watched your stream.
Affiliate. I've been affiliate now for, well, I guess about. I got affiliate actually pretty quick. I got affiliate after streaming for, I guess about 6 months. I got affiliate. So I've been affiliate ever since, though. Obviously I only pull in 15 viewers at a time. Is usually what I usually pull in. But I mean, I stream at an obscure time. I mean, I'm sure if I was a little more hardcore and I set a streaming time, I could probably pull in more viewers, right? But
Yeah, I do feel like time is so important as a streamer, and that's where you and I relate. Is we're both West Coast, North America, and we can stream at night. After our kids are asleep, so that's when we stream. And viewer count generally might be low because EU might just be waking up. But I noticed like folks that stream during the daytime, at least West Coast time, like obviously Arbitrary, he's full time streamer. But even like Sergeant Sadsack, I've noticed Sergeant Sadsack has similar, I want to say, follower count than we have, but he has, I would say, higher viewer count. And I really do think part of it is because of like the time that you can stream. If you can get something where it's more daytime for EU and NA, where we're mostly like late night NA, so we're really not going to get. It's like sometimes I'll see Simkin Popkin. I think Simkin is EU, but yeah, I think that the time is, it's really what you can do.
well, and I also noticed too the other day I ended up streaming earlier in the day, and it's like at one point I had hit 22 viewers. I hadn't even been rated or anything. And it stayed there at 22 viewers for a while, and I think it was just because of the time of day I was streaming. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But as I said, I usually start streaming at this time, 9 p.m. Pacific's my standard time for streaming, and I usually stream till about 3-4 in the morning every time I do stream, right? But it's too. It's like I start to notice I get more viewers towards the end of the night. It's like as soon as like 3 o'clock starts rolling around, all of a sudden I've gained 5 or 6 viewers, and I think that's probably EU rolling in.
Yeah, 22 viewers is natively is solid. Considering no raid, that's solid.
Yeah, like I said, over the past little while, I've started to gain a few more viewers. I think people are starting to watch team games more, or like appreciate more team games.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome, Silent Monkey, to the podcast. We've got HighPimplar here. We're wrapping up talking about HighPimplar as a streamer. Last question here is, what are your goals for streaming?
To just keep doing what I'm doing. It's like I've never had a donation bar up at the top. I'm not looking uh, to gain money out of all this. I'm just looking for some companionship while I play fucking a stupid video game. You know, I always like hanging out with my buds, even back in the day when I'd play video games with my buddies hanging out. Even if I wasn't playing the game, you know, I'd like interacting with my buddies. As I get older and all my friends have kind of built their own lives, it's nice to have that friendship. And that's basically what I've always said when as a streamer, come into my chat room, you interact, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can request music. You can request the game type I play. Fuck, you don't even have to be a follower. You just come in and you say hi. You give an old man a little bit of company. That's all I want as a streamer. I've said that ever since I started streaming.
Those are some great statements. And I agree with you totally. Like I used to have LAN parties in college in person with friends. And like you said, those friends in the past have like built their own lives, and you might get separated from them and you don't play games in person with them anymore. And I think that's what our streams provide, is that it's almost like a virtual LAN party kind of, you know, like just that companionship, that that friendship that we build. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and like I said, I've said that from the get go. I've always said that to people that have entered my stream too. It's like don't need to throw money at me. You don't need to sub to my channel. All it's been about for me is, you know, hanging out. I work full time, you know, and so I've always worked full time. That's what provides for my family, always will provide for my family. I mean, hell, if you like the content, you fucking sub to a channel. Everyone knows how Twitch works, right? Shouldn't be subbed because you're forced to. You should be subbing because you like the content. You like the person, right?
Good man. Good statements there. All right. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about that I might have missed as a streamer, HighPimplar?
Nope, nope. It's all good there, buddy. That's basically me in a nutshell as a streamer.
Okay. The next topic here is community. I'm looking forward to this one here. I've been looking forward to it this whole episode. The first bullet point here is team games. I feel like we've talked about this a little bit, but is there anything in particular about team games? Maybe like how team game culture has evolved in StarCraft 2?
I mean, I would say team game culture is kind of de-evolved. It used to be about the macro. It used to be about strategy. Now it's kind of gotten to a point whoever can do the cheesiest bullshit usually wins the game. You know, i.e., cannon rush. Sorry, excuse me. Nidus. You know, all that fucking shit, right? It's just, yeah, it's just kind of gotten to a fucking nonsensical point, right? I mean, it's like I can't say that for 1v1 because the last time I actually competitively played 1v1 was 2014, right? And back then it was a lot better. It's like I can guarantee it was a lot better back then. But it's definitely degraded in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure you guys would probably agree with 1v1.
Right. So instead of evolving, we're talking about degrading here, and Cannon Rush in particular was something we've like. I saw. So I play in a tech like corporate league for 1v1, and I've played against Google, and so for folks that play on North America, Google Clan is it's one. I'm going to type it in the chat here. It's 1E100, and they have a bunch of highly skilled team game players that are really, really good at cannon rushing. And I've gotten to a point where if we load up prearranged team and I see that clan and I know it's Google, I kind of get this existential dread of like, oh, I gotta defend a really good, a well executed cannon rush, or at least try to.
There's nothing worse than that fucking feeling when you're playing against a good cannon rusher. It's like, how do I even stop it? How do I even fucking stop it? Even when you think you have stopped it, they figured something out that you've never even thought of and you've never seen before. It's like, cool. I'm glad you know how to do a fucking cannon rush. Fucking every aspect of the map you figured out how to fuck somebody over with a cannon rush, right?
Yeah, yeah. Cheesy puffs is it's a fair statement. Like, wall, that's the obvious answer. Wall off the low ground. But majority of us, I think Nugs plays Protoss consistently, but you and I play random. So we may get like Zerg, you know, where we can't we can't wall. We can't help wall. And even when we did get TRP and we try to help wall, it's like I'm telling you their cannon rush execution is really good. Really good.
Yeah, they do cannon rush every fucking game. And it's not just the same guy fucking cannon rushing either.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so that's a bit about the kind of how team games have de-evolved. I put a note here for like 4GG. Like that was your first subscription as a viewer on Twitch. Is that right?
Yeah, 4GG was my first subscription. He was, I think, I used to watch him playing Brood War back in the day, so that's kind of where, when I first initially got into Twitch, I was like, oh, fuck, 4GG. I saw him in the StarCraft 2 directory, and I was like, well, fuck, I started watching him. And then I was second subscriber. I think the second person I subscribed to was Puck. Well, Nina now, but back then it was Puck. And then I think the third person I subscribed to after that was Protech, and that was when I started playing team games.
I think I saw in a different chat that people were talking about how Protech had been taking a break recently. Like he's taking like a month break from StarCraft 2. I think he's living in is it Thailand now?
Yeah, Thailand.
Yeah. He had some pretty hefty, a couple donators that pretty much funded moving from North America to Thailand. I want to say one of them is like a lawyer or something.
Well, I'm not a lawyer's one of the accounts, but Ryan has basically been his big funder to get him over to Thailand. I don't know what the hell Ryan does. I think Ryan kind of kind of struck it rich with the fuck is cryptocurrency. So he was a gambling man. So he's like a millionaire or whatever, and he just spews out money to Protech for just playing games and shit like that. And then I'm not a lawyer. He calls it. I think he calls it the 4 pillars of Protech. He's got 4 guys that basically donate and basically fund him to play StarCraft 2.
Wow, interesting. And Sensation in the chat saying Ryan was funding 4GG's stream as well. Keck.
Yeah, he's definitely rich. He definitely wasn't lying when he said he's rich. Like I said, he threw a bunch of money at Protech, a bunch at 4GG. I think he's threw a bunch of money at Trigger as well. I think he like funded a Trigger 2v2 with Nina or some shit like that. I think it was like Trigger and Nina versus him and 4GG. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the matchup was, but yeah, he just throws money around.
There was
just shits out money.
There was a similar person in Uppetree's Zelda community. Like I'll occasionally pop in his stream, but I think he had a goal of like, don't quote me on this number. I want to say like it was a good amount of money, like $1,000 to play a game that's not StarCraft 2. I think it's Monte Cristo is the guy that used to fund Uppetree to play like non-StarCraft 2 games or something like that. And similar kind of story.
I mean, fuck.
Oh,
it's like
Montium.
Yeah, nothing gets you more fired up than money, man. It's like, sure, you want me to play another game for $5,000? You got it. I don't even fucking care what it is. Hell, man, you pay me $5,000? Fuck, I'd take my shirt off and throw on some booby tassels and start waving them around.
Oh, I was watching. Speaking of games, like game selection on Twitch. This is a bit of a tangent, but I was watching Kid Chillin' the other day, and Kid Chillin' went through the Twitch terms of service. Twitch explicitly list games on their website that are banned from streaming, and it's all like very vulgar games, like very vulgar names, and they explicitly type that out like on their website. It's pretty funny.
I wonder if one of them is Shower with Your Dad Simulator. It's an
My,
actual. It's an actual game too.
is that really a thing? Let's
Yeah,
see.
It's an actual game.
Twitch banned games list. Okay, yeah. So here, I'll put the link in the chat here that I just found. List of prohibited games. Cuckold Simulator.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. I don't think I could say. I don't think I want to say some of these like for the podcast, but what's under your? I'll say the funny ones that are kind of okay, borderline. To say what's under your blanket.
But you don't want to get.
Porno studio tycoon.
You don't want to get into some genital jousting.
Genital jousting. I'm not gonna say the R ones. I won't say those. Second, I've heard of Second Life. Or no, I've heard of First Life.
Oh, I didn't even see the ones on the. Oh wow, yeah.
The R ones. I won't say those, dude.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even see the ones on the right.
Yeah.
The one that I went to right away was genital jousting.
I'll say this one's a bit dicey, but this one is called "Suck My Dick or Die." Wow. These game names are like really something else.
Like Diaries of a Fucking Rapist, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I was watching Kids Chillin' stream. He's a Masters 3 Zerg, and I wasn't aware that this list existed. And he was reading off some of them, and kind of reminded me.
it's like I'm surprised that Shower with Your Dad Simulator is not up there.
There's got to be like a million games like this that they just aren't. You can't be aware of all of them, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Because Steam just dumps out all these games, all these indie games.
Yeah, surprising that. Oh, I guess maybe some of these aren't even on Steam. It's just like their own standalone game.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of intrigued on genital jousting.
We're gonna see. HighPimplar is the next pro genital jousting streamer.
I'm going pro, guys. I'm going pro.
All right, we have a few more things here under the community section. So, do you want to talk about the ProTech community? So, for folks that are listening to this podcast, I don't know who would be listening to this and wouldn't know who ProTech is, but I mean, ProTech is one of the most well-known team streamers. He's a full-time streamer, but he has a bit of controversy, right? Like
Oh yeah.
He's a bit ragey. He's I don't know, vulgar language. I don't know the history of like why he's controversial, but from my perspective, what I've seen is like he can be vulgar in his language. He calls a lot of people hackers. I don't know. Do you want to kind of comment on that? Because you've been watching him for a long time, right?
You know, it's like I've watched ProTech for a lot of years. He's I've always had this expression that you know, you can't watch somebody. You can watch somebody for entertainment value, but not believe everything they say. There's been a few times where I haven't agreed with ProTech, but it hasn't negated me from going there and watching the entertainment value that is team games. The guy is amazing at 2v2 team games, and that's something that I said that I've played for a lot of years is team games. Have I believed everything that he says? Like one thing that I haven't always seen eye to eye with on ProTech is Practice X being a hacker. That's one thing that I've never believed Practice X to be. I mean, the guy, to me, when I see Practice X, that doesn't look like a hack. The guy doesn't seem like the guy that would kind of dude that would hack. He seems like a gentle soul. He doesn't seem like he would even fucking cheat on a test, let alone hack in a game, right? But he's always had this impression that he's been a hacker, and I've never agreed with that. But, does it negate me going there and watching him for the entertainment value that he is? No. It's like I go there and I watch him for the entertainment. It's like he posted a video of Practice X where he was doing hack this X scans, as he called it, right? But like I said, it wasn't enough information for me to, actually call him a hacker, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the tough thing with like accusations in the StarCraft 2 community. There's no like definitive, like aside from Blizzard verifying, and they're never going to publicly do this. They're never going to publicly say yes, this person was hacking. There's no verification that somebody actually hacked. Even if a pro does a replay analysis, yeah, it might be a bit more conclusive, but we don't have confirmation from Blizzard aside from account being banned, straight up banned, you know?
And another thing too that Protec's always had is had really good hacker analysis. That's one thing that I've always appreciated Protec in the past for, is when he thought somebody was an actual hacker, he would go through the replay and look through every aspect and give you the information on why he thinks the guy's a hacker, right? I feel like it's gone a little bit lazy. I mean, I kind of don't blame him because he's been dealing with it for so long. I believe because of his persona and the way that he acts, I believe a lot of people stream snipe him. I believe like most of the time when he thinks people are hacking, I believe it's just stream snipers, which in another term is a hacker. And somebody stream sniping you, that is hacking, right? And when you bring that kind of shit to streaming, people fucking continue to fucking stream snipe you, right? And I think that's what's going on. I think a lot of people do actually stream snipe Protec. He's gotten to that point where he's wrong. I don't think he's wrong into think that everyone's cheating, because I think most of the people that do watch his stream are stream sniping. He's got his loyal viewership. He's got his 20 to 30 viewers. Then the rest of them are absolutely probably stream sniping, because he's kind of just built that kind of crowd towards him. People want to see him get pissed off. But I
Right.
mean, in the same breath, he's making money off it. This brings more viewership in. This brings in people that feel sorry for him and give him money and stuff like that, right? So they're in turn doing him a favor, right? So
I've watched Protec on and off for years, and I think what you just stated there is a pretty fair assessment. Like he's probably dealt with a lot of hackers in the past, and
oh yeah,
I've recently watched him before he took this hiatus, and yeah, he was at a point where it's almost like every opponent he's like hacker, 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 without even looking into it anymore, and you got to be jaded at some point and just like screw this, man. And I see some similarities in Protec's community and Avilo's community, unfortunately, where you get a subpopulation within the community that just they have ill intent. They just want to see that person rage.
they want to see him frustrated.
They want to see him
angry.
frustrated. I actually did some investigation on another streamer that was being stream sniped, and I found definitive evidence of this. I had to take it down for safety reasons, and I won't kind of go into further detail on it, but stream sniping is a real thing, and it's a shitty thing that people do, and I hope that those people that do those shitty things, they're not going to stop doing it, but people need to be aware that it is a real thing that happens in our gaming community. I imagine it happens in tons of other gaming communities.
And I think that's where a lot of people get the misconception about Protec. It's like they see him raging and saying that he's calling everyone hackers. But I mean, if you've been dealing with, pieces of shit that have been stream sniping you for, your whole fucking streaming career, you'd be fucking jaded too, man.
Yep.
And lots of people just, they just see that jaded and they just automatically come up with this, this how they feel about Protec. Oh, well, this guy's just a piece of shit. Well, it's like I said, you haven't been watching this guy for 10 fucking years and seen the gradual fucking bullshit that he's had to deal with over the fucking years, right?
a lot. And if you talk about streaming hours, I think that ProTech, not only in the StarCraft 2 community, but like almost all of Twitch has like, he had years where he was the most hours streamed, like, but like absolutely all of StarCraft 2 streamers. He had the most number of hours in a given year. And I want to say like all of Twitch, he just went absolutely crazy with the streaming hours. Like a 12-hour stream to him on multiple days was just like a regular occurrence kind of thing.
Yeah, and he puts in a lot of hours, 200 a month, right?
Yeah, it's an insane amount of hours.
Mm-hmm. And it's like I said, I've subbed to a lot of people for hard work. I've been subbing to Hubsale for a lot of years now too. I think it's been about 3-4 years. It's because of hard work, right? I usually sub to people for hard work too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Protect's done. He's done a lot of hard work. He's provided entertainment value and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate the way that the community sees him, right? And like I said, from my standpoint, I haven't agreed with him for a lot of things over the years, but the guy's put out a lot of entertaining content, right? And like I said, you'd be jaded too if you had to deal with the bullshit that that guy's been dealing with for 10 years, right? That's why I feel a lot of people get this wrong idea about him. But it's like I said, people have their opinions about him.
I think it's a really like high intelligent, like high, you have like high emotional intelligence where you, like you said, you watch Protech, but you may not agree with him on some things, but you still watch him for the entertainment. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like modern cancel culture really even says, oh, if I don't agree with you on something, not only am I like not going to support you, like I'm just going to trash talk you. And it's very immature. It's a very immature thing. Like I think it's very smart of you that you identify like, yeah, I may disagree with him on some things, like him just having a more recent extreme accusation count, but I'm still gonna watch him because I like the entertainment. He's a good player, and yeah, I have respect for you for being that kind of viewer. That's not just like fuck this guy because of like the community thinks or like because I have a different opinion than him. And I kind of want to
Yeah,
go back to what Ratless said in the chat because I'm not sure what this story he's referring to, but Ratless said in the chat, "Do you know the story though?"
it might be more of a story on the practice acts, but I mean, even what you were just saying too, there, PCH. I mean, me and Ratla have been friends for 9 years, and there's been some times where we haven't seen eye to eye, where we've gotten into fights. But it's like we're still friends. You can still be friends with somebody. Like fuck, if somebody was a Democrat and another guy was a Republican, they could still be friends, even though they have different political views. They're like just different views in general. Just because some people don't see eye to eye doesn't mean that you can't be friends or that you can't still watch someone, right? Like
Hmm.
like say let's say okay, well here's a good analogy, okay? Let's say I enjoy watching Tom Cruise movies, okay? So like I sit here and I watch like Mission Impossible, War of the Worlds, and I truly enjoy those movies. And I like the entertainment value and I like what he puts out. But then all of a sudden he's a Scientologist, so I'm watching him and I like the entertainment value, but because he's a Scientologist and I watch him, that automatically believes makes me a Scientologist. You know what I mean? Just because you watch somebody for entertainment value, or you hang out with somebody for entertainment value, doesn't mean you have to have the same fucking views.
I didn't know you
And
were Scientologist. I didn't know you were a Scientologist. Hi,
no,
Pipla.
yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, that's a another great example.
He's a Scientologist.
Sensation saying Pimplar, the Scientologist kick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and Sensation talking about his experience as a streamer, like he's saying in chat, yeah, it's sad many times when I've mentioned Protect in my stream, and some random viewer will come in Sensation's stream and just talk shit about him.
Yeah, it's just like I said, people just they come in and they see his rants, but he's been dealing with shit for fucking 10 years. They're just getting like the tail end of it, right? And they just base their opinions on basically 2 minutes of what they've seen, right? Oh, I walked in here and he's calling the guy a hacker. Oh, he's always calling somebody a hacker, right? Well, fuck, man. Like I said, you deal with the bullshit he did, you'd be probably doing the same fucking thing, man.
Rattler in chat saying Pimplar is big into satanic cults. I can confirm.
That'd probably explain the fucking closet door fucking opening up randomly.
You want to talk about that story?
Sure. Can you just give me 1 sec? I really gotta hang a piss.
Yeah,
Give me
sure.
like a few minutes. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Sure. All right, chat podcast. We're gonna take a quick little break here. We're wrapping up the community part of the podcast here. We're gonna talk about that door opening. I don't think I know the full story, but I think HighPimplar was streaming, and we could see a door in the background. Is it that door or maybe a different door? We're gonna hear from him more about this, but I think a door just kind of magically opened or closed during a stream. So we'll get some of the the sensation anti-Illuminati emotes in the chat, or the demon buddy Keck. Yeah, and after the community, we'll talk about career non-SC2 related. We've got a couple questions from the chat earlier, and then we'll finish up with the outro. But we're doing pretty great. We just hit the 2-hour mark. I appreciate all of you hanging out here, listening to the podcast, and hype. Hype. Talrak saying hype. So yeah, if you're new to the podcast and you haven't listened to the previous episodes, you can find them anywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Amazon. The VODs are on my YouTube channel, so if you want to watch the VOD, if you have time to actually, if you want to see the video part of it, but I imagine, if you're at school, you're at work, you're going for a long drive or your commute, you can just pull up the podcast, just search Grassroots StarCraft 2 on your podcast platform, and I've had some great guests, and hoping to consistently have more guests in the near future. Thank you, Sensation. Appreciate the kind words about the great podcast. It's been very entertaining. Yeah, we blew through 2 hours here already, like it's nothing. Maybe a little bit under 2 hours actually, considering the intro, but. Talrax, when will Sensation be on the podcast? I've invited Sensation, but respectfully, he's declined coming on the podcast, and that's fine. It's personal choice for anybody that wants to come on, that plays StarCraft, that's a streamer. Even if you're not a streamer, if you're just a Twitch chatter, you're welcome to come on. And I'm even understanding of if you don't want to use webcam, if you just want to do audio. I actually had an episode with Synergy, who's he's a campaign like arcade creator, and he just used his Synergy logo instead of the webcam, and we still did like a full podcast. So if you want to have a bit more anonymity, that's totally fine. Okay. Yeah, a couple of questions in the chat here from the earlier in the podcast. Looks like Pimplar is back.
Sorry, apparently I got lost.
All good. Just kind of going over what's remaining for the podcast, and for folks that are tuning in for the first time, how to listen to it on the platforms. All right. There's something I didn't put in the doc. Like, let's say there's 2 more things here, like live events. So you had mentioned in our pre-show talk that you haven't gone to live events, and there's reasoning for that. Do you want to talk about that?
Live events? Like, what do you mean? Like going to like actual live events?
Like tournaments. I know they're much more rare now for North America, but
I don't think I've gone just because of financial reasons, honestly. I don't think maybe I said something wrong there, but yeah, no, I just don't go to live events just because I don't have the money. I would love to go to a live event, but
that's fair. Yeah, definitely in this economy, that's absolutely fair.
I think the next BlizzCon usually always happens in Anaheim, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's always Anaheim. They had no StarCraft content, coverage recently, And the next North American event is DreamHack Atlanta, which is I think about a month away from now. But for us in West Coast, that's a hike, especially with kids and finances. So, but they did announce another North American event next year in Dallas, Texas. So I think that's like April, May timeframe.
Fuck, I'm heading down to Dallas in December there.
Oh damn.
I don't think I'll be going back. I think it's just going to be a one of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going down there to see Cowboys versus the Eagles on December 10th.
Nice.
Yeah, me and my friends usually go to. Well, before COVID, we used to go to a city in the States and watch a game. Last one we saw was Arizona. We saw Arizona Cardinals versus who the fuck were they playing? I want to say the Seahawks. That might not be right. And the game before that, me and my wife were in New York and we saw the Green Bay Packers versus the Jets. That was good. That was when Aaron Rodgers was still playing for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, a while ago, huh? All right. The last thing I put in the community section is the characters, and by characters I mean the Twitch viewers in your stream. Let's go over each of them one by one. Like, I don't know if you want to talk about like how you met them or like what is their kind of what is their thing or their personality type or it's all funny. It's all funny people.
Yeah, Sergeant Radler I met in Protect stream. Well, fuck, 9 years ago. We've been playing team games ever since. I think about 6-7 months ago he stopped playing. Has it been 6 now? Maybe it's been less than that. Maybe it was more about 4 or 5 months. He just called it quits. He got tired of the fucking game. Got tired of the dynamic of the game, the player base. But yeah, he's a character. He's from Australia. I've never actually seen the guy or talked to the guy in person, nor would he ever show me a picture or fucking talk to me in person. He's always been kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, a homebody, not a kind of person that likes to go out and interact with people. He hates people. He thinks people are stupid. Uh, but no, he's a good StarCraft player. He's been playing Terran for I think about 4 or 5 years now. He used to play Zerg for a while, but now he's been playing Terran. But yeah, he just gave up. He's as soon as the new Cyclone changed, he was fucking done with it. Daro, Daro's another character that comes in. I don't know what his deal is. He'll come in and fucking say some lewd comments about my body, call me fat, and then at the same time says I love you and shit like that. Give me a kiss. I
The
don't know what
fuck?
his yeah, I don't know. He's a weird dude. He's from fucking Barcelona, Spain, so I don't know if it's just Spanish people, but if they're just weird fucking people. It's like I've only met one person from Spain before that, and he was a weird dude too. So it's like that's the only basis I have that people from Spain are weird. Because I had this one guy from fucking Spain. He came and he was an exchange student, and I said to him he wanted to see bears, he wanted to see whales and shit like that. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'll drive you around because like bears are just rampant around here in Vancouver, right? I was like, I'll drive you around Stanley Park. We'll see what we can see, right? So we're driving down Stanley Park, and this guy doesn't speak a lot of English. And all of a sudden, he just sees a bear. It's like a black bear just run across the fucking road. And he jumps out of the fucking car. I mean, I was going slow because it's Stanley Park. You can only drive slow through the park. He jumps out with his flash photography, and he's chasing the black bear, trying to take pictures of it. And I'm chasing this guy. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, oh, pictures, pictures. I'm like, no, you don't chase fucking bears, man. But then it's like at the same time too, I said to him too, I was like, hey, it's like it's okay, it's customary. It was just me and him in the car. It's customary to just fart in public because I let one rip in the car and I stunk up the whole car, right? He's looking at me a nasty look. And I turned and say to him, I said, it's customary in North America to just fart and let it go, right? So what does he do? There's like a big family gathering. There's like fucking 10 people around. We're sitting at the table and he just lets one fucking rip. And everyone's giving him a nasty ass look, right? And he's looking at me like, because I told him it's customary, and he just fucking let him go, right? Oh yeah, but yeah, he was a weird dude, right? And Daro, I get the same vibes. He strikes me as the type of dude to just chase a fucking black bear through the woods with flash photography. And then Panic, he's another guy from ProTech channel. He's from Romania. Um, yeah, I don't know. What can I say about Panic? It's like he's got the most weirdest taste of fucking music. He'll come into my fucking channel and play Selena Gomez and like Taylor Swift and shit. And I'm like, what are you trying to do here, man? You're giving people the wrong impression here. You got this 40-year-old man playing fucking StarCraft 2 listening to Selena Gomez, man. Next thing you know, that I'm gonna be trying to wear him as a fucking like skin suit or something, you know?
I've seen Panic New. It's the Twitch name is Panic New One on Twitch. I've seen him across various StarCraft 2 Twitch streams, and he always has like what people that are like hypersensitive, snowflakes might deem as like offensive comments, but he always has really base takes on various topics, and I heard him for the first time in Discord when we played teams with him that one night, and he's a funny dude.
Yeah, he's something else. I think he's a mod in Trigger stream too. I don't know if he's I think he's a mod in Trigger stream. I don't know how he landed that. And then yeah, there's the other ones. Jimmy's been coming for a long time too. Jimmy's obviously ESL, so every time I get on to him with Discord, it's like I try to understand him as best as I can, but I have troubles understanding him. I'm sure you feel the same way. He's a nice guy. He's a great guy. He's been, like I said, coming to my stream for fucking ever since I started. But like I said, every time I get on Discord, it's like I have troubles understanding him. Great guy. He streams as well. I don't know if
Yeah.
Jimmy's still in the stream. No, I don't see him there.
Shout out. It's Jimmy the best dog, right?
Yeah, Jimmy the best dog.
There we
It's
go.
like I honestly think he should probably, because like a lot of the games that he does stream is like Final Fantasy, and I feel like his ESL is definitely he's definitely ESL, and I feel like he would have a lot better success streaming if he would just talk in his native tongue.
Yeah, in Spanish. Yeah.
Yeah. So
ESL being English as a second language, not what is the StarCraft ESL league? I'm gonna meme here and say European StarCraft League because that's what it is.
I don't know what the hell the ESL stands for that.
Somebody on Twitter said ESL is European StarCraft League because they clearly heavily favor Europeans. I feel like they actually give Europeans. I actually called them out on this. They give Europeans more slots in the tournaments than any other region. But yeah, Jimmy's awesome. Going back to Rattler, I think you forgot to mention. So Rattler did your emotes, and I think when I first discovered your stream, I was hanging out in Sensation stream, and I think you popped in, or Rattler popped in, and you guys were like using your emotes, and dude, I was like fucking dying laughing, especially like the SC2 community, like all of them, dude, are just yeah, there they are right there, the P brain one, the chop. So let's talk about the Choco one because I didn't know what that was at first.
It was originally supposed to be an eat shit emote, but it's like I tried to. Fuck, my camera's doing funky shit again. Here, give me a sec. But that was originally intended to be eat shit, and I thought I could slip one past Twitch if I just wrote. I wrote eat as EET, and then I wrote shit as SHYT, and I thought I could maybe slip it past the cracks, but no, they tuned in right away. They knew it was up. But yeah, that was it. So we had to change it to Choco.
Choco.
They allowed it after that. They're like, yeah, fine. Just let everyone know that it's chocolate, right? But we all know what
It's
the fuck it is.
it's chocolate. So for people listening on the podcast, this emote is like a white dude with like a bunch of the way all of the eyes are for these emotes, it's like the person like is missing like hundreds of brain cells.
Yeah,
But there's a brown ring around the mouth and there's a drool spot.
yeah, it's a good one. He made all the emotes. It's like I'm not very tech suave. I never have been. Something I always said to anyone that's subbed to my channel has full artistic integrity of making emotes for my channel. Because yeah, you know it, as a Twitch streamer, you have what is it, like 40 slots that you can make emotes. You can't list them all right away or whatever, but you can make the emotes and you can have them in the bank for if you get more, subscribers or whatnot, right? So that's what Rattler did. I said, "Go ahead, man. Fire away, man. Make whatever emote you want. I'll make it happen for you, right?" And that's what he did. That's all fucking Rattler. That's the artistic integrity of Rattler.
You've
I
got
can
that.
take I can take zero credit for any of these emotes. Those are all Rattler.
You've got the outplayed where the finger is pointing to the side of the head. Uh, SC2 community is the person that's. It literally
That's
looks like a person that's got run over by a car.
that's yeah. The Rattler's got some things to say about the StarCraft 2 community.
And then you got
Funny guy.
the Reddit rage one is just it's the StarCraft 2 community zoomed in, but it's like shaking, like rage shaking.
I had a guy sub to me the other day just because he wanted that one. Saying he's like, I just subbed for that emote alone. I was like, fair enough, man.
Yeah, that's actually the main reason why I subbed for you was for that 1 month was for the emotes.
Yeah, and it's like I haven't made a lot of money off Twitch in the time that I've been streaming. There's been the few Twitch donations, and I've seen 3 paychecks from Twitch of $50 American. So I figured most of the people have been subscribing to my channel just for the emotes, which some of them have been. So I've always been throwing a sub Rattler's way. So every time you come into my channel and they have that little gifted sub amount, all those gifted subs have been to Rattler because that's kind of my payment to him, because I'm obviously not making a lot of money. So I allow him to use his emotes in every fucking in every channel. So that's
Rattlers
kind
saying
of
in
why.
the Rattlers saying in the chat, I've got an idea for a new emote. Just got to make it one day, Capo.
Yeah, whenever he's ready to make it, I'll make it a thing.
I'm
Like I
looking
said,
I'm looking forward to that. A huge fan of his art.
yeah, he's done some good work. He's definitely done some good work. I mean, like I said, the emotes that I have been copy paste off of the internet, so they're probably copyright infringement. I'd probably have to get rid of them if it was like if I actually got popular, right?
Yeah,
Because like
that's what I did for like the sheep one here, even like the one I call Protoss. It's just it's an ape.
hmm stuff you can find off the internet, and like I said, I can't do this kind of shit. He went to town, man. And his
Yeah.
signature, too, is like he's got to add drool. All of his emotes have to have drool, so he wanted to take back the outplayed one and add drool to it. I was like, "Nah, man, it's good the way it is." No, it must have drool.
It was half true. All right,
But yeah,
the last section here we have career like non SC2 related. So like typically for guests, I try to keep it on the StarCraft 2 topic for privacy, but being a viewer of yours, you're a pretty open guy, so this is kind of your chance if you want to talk about your personal life a bit.
yeah. I was like, I work full time. Like streaming's kind of just like a hobby. My full time job is a machinist. Is like I work and I sculpt metal. For those that don't know what a machinist is, a machinist are, yeah, just somebody that sculpts metal. Stuff like gears or anything metal related I can kind of mold, right? I've worked on engine lathe, CNC machines, milling machines, and I've done it for a lot of years. Uh, don't want to do it for the rest of my life. Very, very dangerous job. I've seen a lot of fucking stupid shit in my trade. I've seen a lot of, people get injured. I've seen a guy lose his legs. That was right when I first started becoming a machinist. Uh, Guy literally put 1,000-pound plate on a radial drill press. And for those that don't know what a radial drill press is, it's a larger scale drill. So imagine a drill head, but it's on like a radial swivel, so you can move the whole machine, so you can basically drill into big parts. So, anyways, this guy didn't put the plate onto the table and clamp it down to the table before he removed the crane. And this plate weighed 1,000 pounds, and he literally removed the crane, and had the plate fall right down on his legs and shear his legs right in half. And I was the first one on scene, being an apprentice at this time, and another guy. We both had to sit there and kind of just, hold his legs to kind of keep him from kind of bleeding out, kind of, because like I
Holy
said,
shit.
it was literally hanging on by two pieces of skin on the leg that I was holding on, right? So we applied pressure until the ambulance showed up, so they could kind of seal it up a little bit to get him to the hospital and give him sedative and stuff like that, right? And I've seen guy lose his fingers recently. I think it was about a year ago. He tried to catch a plate that weighed about 200 pounds when it fell off the crane. He put his hand underneath, tried to catch it. Obviously, my mistake at the time, being the first aid attendant, I told him not to look at it. I took his latex glove off, and when I pulled his latex glove off, I could see that his three fingers were, for the better part, deformed. And my natural reaction was, oh, fuck. And then he immediately tries to look and see
Oh,
what's going
shit.
on, right? So he starts going into shock, right? And
Shit.
I immediately grabbed his hand and applied pressure, fucking threw some gauze on it, and I was like, "We're close enough to the hospital. I'm driving you to the hospital." And he almost passed out in the car as I was driving him to the hospital. And I got in shit. The fucking company gave me shit for that too. They gave me shit and said, "No, you should have called an ambulance. That's proper regulation, right?" I was like, "Yeah, but this fucking guy was gonna go into shock and all of a sudden pass out on me, and by the time the ambulance gets here, who knows, right? I could get him into the hospital in like 5 fucking minutes, right?" They said, "No, that's not regulation. You have to call the ambulance. You have to sit there with the guy, and that's proper WCB, right?" Yeah. I've
Wow,
seen a guy sit. I've seen
that
a
is
guy sit. Sorry, go ahead.
that's traumatic, especially as an apprentice, the leg situation. So
Yeah.
you, even as you were just starting out in your career, and you continued you go down that career path, even just seeing the leg thing at a young age, huh?
Well, it's like I've always been kind of a hands-on guy. Like it's like I'm the kind of guy that'll change my winter tires, change summer to winter tires, change the oil in my car. I'm the kind of guy that tries to fix things. Always been a tinkerer, I guess, right? And that's why I liked machining, because it was kind of like the ultimate tinkering kind of job, right? Molding metal was something that kind of reached out to me, right? But yeah, I continued on, and I think it's made me a safer worker, and I think that's why I was let go from my job recently. I was let go 2 weeks ago from my job uh, because I kept refusing unsafe work. Uh, they have what's called in the trade broach uh, machine, and what you have to use is a 5-ton press, and you have to push a broach through a piece of metal, and what it creates is a keyway. Well, anyways, these broaches are tempered metal, so any kind of pressure that's put on it, and it doesn't like the pressure, it'll just shatter into 1,000 pieces, right? So a thing that I kept complaining in this shop is there was no safety guard around this press for when I pushed this broach through. I kept saying to him, I'm like, I don't want to do this, because if this thing shatters, it's going to blow up in my face, and there's no safety precautions in place, right? Oh, well, like, it's done safely in the trade. I'm like, yeah, well, of course it's done safely in the trade with the right safety precautions. I've seen too much stupid shit And it's too many people been harmed in their fucking trade that I'm not going to do this. And the guy kept saying to me too. He kept saying to me, my supervisor, he said to me, he's like, you have to do this because he's going to fucking the other guy that does it, he's going to go on holidays, and I need you to learn this for when he goes on holidays. These were his fucking words out of his mouth. And
Wow.
after I refused that, the next week I was let go. The owners pulled me into the office, and they both said they gave me a severance check, and they said to me, you're not a right fit for the company. And I turned and I said to him, I'm like, what do you mean I'm not a right fit for the company? That's something you say to somebody that's, didn't pass 3 months probation. I've been here for 2 years. How are you going to sit here and say that I'm not a right fit for the company? Oh, you're just not a right fit for the company. I'm like, okay, well, I obviously see what's going on here. The writing's on the wall. So that's kind of where my employment's led me now, and now I landed a new job that I start on Monday, that I'm very happy to be starting on Monday.
It's a blessing in disguise, man. You don't want that shattering kind of experience, and I think you got to look at it as a blessing in disguise, especially because you know it's got to be crappy being laid off, especially in this economy. But the fact that you bounce back so quick with exactly like Flip a Flapjack is saying in chat, getting the new gig, congrats, and hope you continue being smart about being safe with that.
Well, and like I said, I've seen enough stupid shit in the machine shop that I know when unsafe work is happening, right? And there's tons of shit that I could, go to WCB on and get them fucking dinged for, because there's a lot of unsafe shit prior to that, but I won't go into detail. But it's like, I just let it go. Somebody's gonna get hurt. I probably shouldn't let it go. I should probably let WCB know what the fuck's going on there, because somebody else is gonna get fucking hurt. You know. You see enough stupid shit in the shop, and you know when unsafe work is unsafe work. And like I said, I have to go home to a young family. I have a 3-year-old son and a 5-month-old son and a wife. It's like I got to make sure I got to see them at the end of the day.
Yeah, respect for that, dude. You got your priorities straight for sure.
And my wife is happy about that too, because it was a slippery slope. I was getting pretty depressed at that shop. I was drinking a lot more than I usually do. Like, I like to have a few beers every once in a while, but I was at the point where I was almost drinking every day.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself, and sounds like it's looking up for you with this new gig. So
yeah, it definitely is.
Some nice words from Jimmy. Proud of you, HighPimplar.
Yeah, Jimmy's a good dude.
Okay, I don't know why I still have this list of prohibited games. I'm gonna close this tab here. Yeah, it's just, I was going to the doc, and then I see some of those names again. All right. Yeah, we're pretty much now at the. Is there anything else like career or like non-SC2 related that you'd like to discuss?
No. I feel like it's been a good chat tonight. I feel like everyone's had some good shit to say.
For sure. All right, so we're at the text-based Q&A. So again, chat, if you're still out there in the internets, we have a couple of questions here we're gonna address. But if you have a question for HighPimplar, just throw it in the chat right now, and we can have him answer that. So the first question is from Sergeant Ratla. Question: how much worse does StarCraft 2 need to become for you to quit playing it?
Oh, sorry, Rattler. It's like, me, man. I'm addicted. I've been playing StarCraft ever since you were still swimming around in your fucking papa's nutsack. So what can I say? I'm gonna keep going, man. Not true. Rattler's pretty much as old as I am, so that's not true. But yeah, I don't know. When a better RTS comes out, brother, man. When a better RTS comes out.
That's the thing for a lot of us, right? We're hanging on to StarCraft 2 because we're waiting to see what's around the corner, and I think the next year or two we'll know. The last question here is from Cytotonic. What time is it where you are? I think she's talking about the time zone that we're in.
It's 11:30. 11:30 p.m.
Yep.
Wow,
so
these are some hard questions, guys. Man, fuck, I'm sweating balls.
We're both Pacific time, North America, Cytotonic. I think Cytotonic is Canada too. You're in Canada, right? But I think she's Montreal. I want to say she's
Montreal.
Montreal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the few places that I'd probably live in Canada. There's places in Ontario, places in Quebec, and places in British Columbia. Everywhere else is pretty much a dumpster. Actually, parts of Alberta are not bad. Yeah, like you get the Rockies in Alberta.
Talrax is saying, as someone in the trades as well, he's a welder. I quit many jobs for unsafe practices / bullshit. Not worth it.
Yeah, it's fucking definitely not worth it. There's as being a tradesman, there's a lot of fucking jobs out there. You'll find another job. You know, it's not worth you fucking putting your life in jeopardy or fucking putting yourself in harm's way or dealing with fucking bullshit. You know.
Definitely. We've got a new question here from Cheesy Puffs 012349. Does working night shifts affect your health, sleep issues, any other stuff you can think of?
Oh hell yeah, it does. It's like the 5 years of night shift have definitely taken a toll on my sleeping habits. I now that I've been on regular day shifts, I sleep for maybe 4 or 5 hours a night. You know, it's like it's because my body is so adjusted to working night shifts, and yeah, it's totally thrown my sleeping schedule around. As far as family life, it definitely took a toll on the family life. I'm glad that I was working night shift before my family got older. If I was working night shift right now with the family being as old as they are, like my 3-year-old and my wife taking care of the 5 months, like she refuses to let me take care of the kid during the nighttime because she's adamant that she's gonna sleep train him to sleep in the crib, and God bless her, right? And she wants me to get a good night's sleep to go to work the next day, right? But yeah, night shift is. I would never say to anyone work night shift. Working night shift definitely affects your health. It definitely affects your health. It affects your sleeping habits. It affects your personal life. It affects your eating habits. Yeah, it's just not good. Nobody should have to work permanent night shifts.
Yeah, I've met some people in healthcare industry that work night shifts or like friends of friends, and I've heard, they um, from the surface you hear, oh, night shift, it's great. You can work at night and then have your day off. But those people that work, in medical, like the Cheesy Puff is saying, oh God, nurses in their 12-hour shifts, if they work a brutal like 12-hour night shift, they're just using the daytime. They sleep during the day. They're nocturnal. And it's really ass backwards socially. All your friends and family are going to be awake during the day for the most part, maybe a little bit at night, but that's when you're starting your shift, So,
And it's like I used to work 4 10s, having the extra day, but what the hell is the extra day? You'd end up sleeping in till like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon on your first day off. So what the hell was the point of having a day off when you haven't done anything productive? To me, having a day off is not just sleeping in till 3 o'clock in the morning. Or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, waking up at a reasonable time and doing something productive or going out and doing something, summertime, going to the beach, and I wasn't doing that working night shift. Summertime, it's like, oh fuck, I'd be so drained and fucking done from the week. I'd sleep till 3 in the afternoon. It's like, fuck, I could have gone to the beach, or I could have gone shopping when there's nobody at the shops or the malls and shit like that.
yeah, definitely. All right. Cheesy Puffs. White rock, one white rock. Rest of it is dark as sand beach keck.
White Rock, are you from Canada there, Cheesy Puss? Is that what's going on here? Is that what White Rock is? Is that what I'm missing? Because I live near a place called White Rock, so that's why I'm getting thrown for a loop. I don't know. Oh, you live near Vancouver. There you go. I was actually just in White Rock. Me and my wife went there for Mexican tonight. I'm
Nice.
in Abbotsford, BC. Holy fuck.
We got
I'm
some
in
some locals. You guys should hang out.
locals. Yeah, fuck. I'm in Langley.
All right, chat. HighPimplar. This is the outro of the podcast. So this is your opportunity here to plug your socials, your Discord, your stream, anything you want to mention.
Well, I don't do any socials. It's like I have Instagram, but it's like I don't really fucking use it. But yeah, I got Twitch. You guys come hang out, man. You guys want to play team games? You guys want to watch me play 1v1? And it's like you guys don't have to sub, or you guys don't even have to follow, man. You guys just come out, hang out, chill out. I'm a pretty reasonable guy. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Cool. All right. Thank you, HighPimplar, for coming on the podcast, the Grassroots StarCraft 2 podcast for episode 16.
Absolutely, buddy. Anytime.
And just like I say at the end of every episode, if you missed some of this episode, you're just tuning in right now. The podcast will be up on my YouTube channel, likely in 24 to 48 hours, and on the podcast platforms around the same time. So thank you again, HighPimplar, for coming on the show, and thank you all for tuning in. Jimmy is saying his name is what is he saying? I'm not sure what Jimmy's trying to say here.
He knows a lot of pro gamers.
Oh, okay.
He's telling me he knows a Canadian pro gamer.
Oh, Canadian pro gamer. Got it. Okay.
But yeah, anyways, thanks for having me, PCH.
Yeah.
Yep. Fucking, we'll see you soon. I'm probably gonna stream here in 20 minutes. I'm gonna check on the fam. So, if you guys want to come out and play some team games, hang out.
Yeah, I'm down for some teams. That's a good segue. We can both stream and play some teams.
Yeah, sure. Just give me like, I don't know, like I said, 10 minutes or so to just check on the fam, make sure my wife's not pulling her hair out trying to deal with my youngest.
Rattler says team game, hype. Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Sensation, Cheesy Puffs. All right, take care.
Yeah, I'll see you in a bit, bud.